It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday edition. Folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and let me tell you something. I am fired up. Man, we have a lot to talk about today. So much happened over the weekend. It was sports overload, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Guys, listen, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, if you're watching this on a YouTube channel, then I guess you found us on YouTube. Listen. Do me a favor. Go download the app. Go download the app, SportsZone Chicago, if you haven't downloaded it already. All right, we're an app-centric platform. We want you to do that. So do me a favor, wherever you get your apps from, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, wherever you get them from, make sure you go and download SportsZone Chicago. It's free 99, so you don't have to worry about a thing. Now, I am so fired up about everything. We got Bears, we got Cubs, Sox, Cubs. Oh man, I'm just messing with my guy, my producer, and my guy coming on with me. But that was not a nice thing yesterday with the Cubs did. The White Sox came back, almost came back, had the time run at the plate, but just couldn't get it done. So listen, we're going to talk about all that in a little bit now. Listen, I want to say what's up. If you want to follow me on social media, here's what you do. I made it nice and easy for you folks. I made it nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper, all one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow the show, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Actually, SportsZone Chicago. Okay. You can tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings, at SM_mornings, or if you want, you can tweet us at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI at SportsZone Shy. Now, I told you how to follow me. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Kai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram, because you do it just for the gram, it's Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. I'll bring my guy out real quick. I know he's got some stuff to finish up. He is a Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, the man behind the curtain, the man who makes it all run, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Good morning, Shawn. I'm good. I'm both ends. I'm good. I know you're struggling, but halfway struggling, but I'm good on both ends. It's a win-win-win all the way around for Chicago yesterday.
Oh, I knew he's going to take some jabs at me, but you know what? It's all good, baby. We can do it. You know what? We're all in the playoffs, so it really doesn't even matter. So listen, guys, we got a great show for you, but I need you to get interactive with me today. So do me a favor. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, or if you're watching this on Facebook Live or the app, I need you to leave a question or comment right there in the post. Man, we got people hopping in already. Vernon, what's up, Papa? How are you? He was up watching me at my CrossFit this morning. Leave a comment. He's ready to roll. He's ready for us. We got you, Papa. Don't worry. We got a great show for you. But leave a question or comment right there. And as you see, just like Ivan did for Vernon's comment, he said, I just hope the Sox don't fall out to the A's. Bears got lucky again. I don't know about lucky. Maybe. We'll see.
Say one thing. The team is different now. The team has changed. It's like night and day. I'll say that. It's like night and day.
Night and day. Boop, he's gone. You talking about a sniper. Ivan the sniper. comes in. It's different, night and day. Shoop, I'm gone. We'll get to that in a little bit. Oh, man. But as I said, make sure you leave a question or comment. As you saw, Vernon, we got Joshua, respect to Nagy for making the call. Man, people are chiming in already. Good stuff. So just leave a question or comment right there on the post. We'll put it up. We want you to get interactive with us. We want to be sensitive to what you guys want to say and discuss some of the things you want to say. Some of the things that you're passionate about. Talk about it. That's what we're about. We're about here. We're having you help us. You know what? And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get it started. But you know what? When I said I got a great show for you, I was not bull jiving. Man, 10 o'clock. Woo, Charlie, our guy, Lauren Cox. He is the host of the Lockdown Bears podcast. He's going to call in. We're going to talk a little Bears football with him. At 10:30, Andy Cruz Vanasek is going to call in. She is the co-host of the Cup of Cubby Blue. It's an SB Nation podcast dedicated solely to the people on Addison and Clark. And then 11 o'clock, my boy Brad Squires from the On Tap Sports Net. We're going to talk a little good guys from the South Side baseball. We are the number 7 seed. Unfortunately, we're going down to Oaktown 357, hang out with MC Hammer and them. But, we're going to come back with a series victory. So we're going to talk to Brad Squires at 11. So let's kick it off. You know how we do the first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning to you. And these are the hot topics of the night before, just with sports in general. And boy, oh boy, do we have some doozies. And the Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader newspaper. And with that, I want to bring in the sports editor. He is I don't know if he's an astronaut or if he just plays one on TV. But anyway, he is his sports editor over there in his NASA jacket. He's you know why? He thinks the Cubs are getting ready to go to higher levels. Outer space, baby. That's where he thinks he's going. You can find him on Twitter at ACA Joe. There's no need for that right there, Ivan. There's no need for that. ACA Joe. Let's bring him in. Joseph Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Baba?
What's up, Papa? God bless. Good morning to you. Victory Monday for the third week in a row.
Bears Victory Monday, baby. House Music Monday, Bears Victory Monday. It's all good, baby. I even had to change it up a little, kind of where my so I got to tell you something. I got to tell you guys something. Okay? I apologize to you and the Bears Nation. Okay? So I just figured out why we're winning. I've worn this shirt. I wore the shirt week 1. Okay?
It's real.
And they came back and they won like good. And you know how we do. So I'm like, I got to wear this week 2. Wore it week 2. Bears came back and won again. Yes. So yesterday I was going to go to Output, but then I was like, you know what? I got CrossFit on Monday. I got some stuff to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go because I know what it was going to be. It's Eddie's birthday, and it was going to be nothing nice. Okay? So you know what? Let me just stay home because I might not have got up for the show today. We might, okay? So I said, okay, fine. So I was doing exercises and stuff yesterday morning just to kind of, even though it was my day off, I did some crunches, some push-ups, stuff like that. And I hadn't showered yet, and the game started. So I'm like, okay. So I didn't have my shirt on for the first half of the game.
See that you got Mitch benched.
So I really like, oh man, I was like, no. All right, at halftime, I showered and put the shirt back on. What happened? Okay, so now it's official. See, it's official. This shirt will be worn in all games for all home games this year. Now I may wear a jersey over or something else, and if it starts to lose, then I'll take the thing off. But this will always be my base layer. Okay, this will always be the base layer for the rest of the season. Because I had a shirt. Let me tell you, I had a shirt that was dope. It was a dope ass Bear shirt. It had little stripes on the sleeve. It had that worn retro vintage look. A nice thinner T-shirt. The one a thinner T-shirt, and they cost a lot more money. Dude, it was dope. They lost all 12 times I wore the God blessed thing. I threw it away. 12 times over 4 seasons. And my cousin, I would watch my game with Bears against my cousin Melissa, who she moved to Austin, and she's like, "Cuz, you need to throw that shirt away. You need to burn it." And I was like, "No, we're gonna make it wear. We're gonna turn it around." And after that 12th time, I was like, I'm done. I am done. So this is it. This is the Bears Victory Monday shirt. Hey, man, what if we go 16-0?
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Oh, what's up, man? How was your weekend, Baba?
Oh, man, it was fantastic, man. Fantastic. Saw a lot of fireworks over the weekend. 25 runs, 3 games, explosion. And the Bears just topped off on Sunday with a 16-point deficit comeback. And Mr. Nicky himself, Nick Foles, thank you, Nicky, in the clutch, just like Mitch, but no longer Mitch, in the fourth quarter for the win. Yes.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I was hoping after that first drive. See, and here's the thing. And Ivan said it right. I was giving him static about it, but he is so right. And you felt it, I think, as well as everybody did. You felt a sense of calm when Nick was out there. You felt a sense of calm. And even with that interception, and that was a tough play. That was a bang play. I think you could have called it either way on the field, but since they called it a touchdown, I don't think there was enough evidence to review that it wasn't a touchdown. Like if they called it an interception, I don't think there would have been enough evidence to review that it wasn't an interception. So I think he got robbed there because Nick actually threw like 5 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter.
That's right.
He threw 5 touchdown passes and boom, I got to go. I got to work. So, but there was a thing about it that there was a sense of peace among me, or I shouldn't say amongst Bear fans. I don't know because I can't speak for all of us. But for me, I felt comfortable. I felt relaxed with Nick Foles at the helm. And if I felt it, I know the team felt it. And that's a huge thing. And you know what? And part of me feels bad because, Mitch isn't a bad guy. He didn't have Jay Cutler, resting bitch face, on the sideline. He was just a great guy all the time, to media. And I'll tell you what, I take my hat off to him because even though he got pulled, man, he came out to the media and, and he acknowledged, he said, hey, he goes, I got to play better. I got to make those throws. I didn't make those throws. I got to do better. It sucks, but, I got to support this team. And you know what? It's that took a lot of big cojones because some guys might have pouted, might not have wanted to come out and face the media because you knew exactly the questions that were going to be asked. And hats off to him for being a stand-up guy.
Yes, and in the quote, in the words of Nick Foles, he says this to Mr. Trubisky actually after the benching took place. He says, I've been where he's been, and it's not easy, okay? And then he said that he was supporting me 100%. I know the emotions are real because I've been there recently. So Foles knows what it's like to be benched. Foles knows what it's like to be second fiddle. He knows what it's like to be second string. But also, I think before he retires, he'll be the perfect quarterback to learn from for Mr. Trubisky to show that the importance, just because you're second doesn't mean you can't be first. And Foles have shown that time and time again, from Super Bowl MVP to being a minister of the gospel, which I love. And then also, just being a man of integrity and good character who understands how to wait his turn. And he's a perfect example of if you are a patient person, it will pay off. And yesterday was amazing to see. It was a miraculous thing to see the Bears come back after most people have given up on them, including me, from a 16-point deficit.
I was in that group as well. I didn't think I didn't think Nagy was gonna make that change. I didn't think he was gonna make that change. And he did. And as much static as I give Nagy, I got to give him a lot of credit. He made that change when he won at that particular point. I didn't think he was going to do it, and he did. And you talk about that, and it changed. And I'll tell you, that could have changed the trajectory of the Bears' season. As you know, the Bears beat the Falcons 30-26 on a fourth quarter, 5 second half touchdown passes by Nick Foles. Only 3 of them counted, unfortunately. But you know what? That was amazing. That was just amazing. And like I said, it was a sense of calm for us. And I was tweeting during the game, and I was I looked at what they were doing, what Atlanta was doing, and they were just doing stupid stuff. They were acting like Detroit. They were acting like Detroit will always Detroit themselves. Like I said that. Remember, Ivan? I said Detroit's going to Detroit themselves. They're going to do something. And sure enough, drop fumble, the drop pass in the end zone that would have given them the victory. They did it. And I tweeted yesterday. I said, you know what? I said they're going after. I said they're not running the ball. I said this is horrible play calling. I said they're not running the ball. I said and making the Bears use timeouts.
Shawn, there was a 3rd and 2. I think it was the last drive, 3rd and 2, and you're going deep when all you need to kill the jugular. It was right there, 2 yards away from. 2 yards away. The end was right there, 2 yards away, and you decided to go deep to Calvin Ridley, who was he was the main target. It was Calvin Ridley and everybody else. They didn't even get their guy Hurston except for that touchdown early in the game. They didn't utilize him. I think the Falcons pretty much gave us the game. I mean, Nick Foles went ahead and played his ass off, but the Falcons gave them the game as well.
And shout out to the Bears.
I don't want to say gave it because you still got to make all those throws. Okay. Like giving a B would be fumbling in the end zone, we scoop and score. We fall on it. But they gave us a hell of a lot of opportunity to take that game. We snatched victory from the jaws of defeat.
That's right. And shout out to the Bears defense who stepped up when they needed to. Because I was very concerned about their defense throughout the game. I mean, Atlanta was pounding the ball down our throat. We couldn't do nothing with Todd Gurley. He was running us over. And then, Calvin Ridley was putting on the show, burning all our cornerbacks and, getting in the backfield, just making good plays. And at the end of the day, I've never seen anything more miraculous. I think this victory is more miraculous than the Detroit Lions victory. And this is the first time in NFL history that any team has come back from a 16-point deficit twice in the same season.
I'll tell you this, I got 2 comebacks that are better, and both include Mike Brown.
Oh yeah, we could go back there, but this team is not talented as that team. This team, every week we got some reason to find, we'll look at this team and could try to compare it to that Mike Brown team. I don't think it's any comparison, as far as just, the depth of their defense, how we were stacked in all areas, even though the goal of this team is to get there, but we're not there. We're not on that level yet. The way they were turning the ball over consistently under that Lovie Smith scheme, that cover 2 scheme. So hopefully this defense can get there. But right now, what I saw yesterday, like I said, I've never seen anything that miraculous, just happen that fast. 3 touchdowns in 4 minutes, man. Are you kidding me? I've never seen anything like that,
Yeah, Atlanta had some bad play calling. When to me, I just couldn't understand it, and which is why I tweeted this could come back. This could come back to bite him. I said, let's see, and sure enough, it sure as hell did. And that was just poor. I don't know how Dan Quinn keeps his job. I would not be surprised if they fired him today. But I'll tell you what, he's not going to be the head coach at starting next season. He might not make. I don't anticipate him making it through this season. All right, you lost the way you lost last week to the Cowboys, okay, and then you lose a 16-point. They were up 25 to what were they up this 20-something points to the Cowboys last week. Then they lost this week. They're up 16 on the Bears, and the Bears don't have a great offense. I mean, they have a much better offense with Foles, but they're not clicking on all cylinders. And I don't understand. And the play calling, it was just I don't see how Quinn holds his job through the season. I really don't. It's just that it was a fireable offense. The play calling or the offensive coordinator needs to get fired just because you got the win. You have it, run the clock out, get a first down, make the Bears use their timeouts. All you really need is 1 first down running the ball. That's all you need.
That was it.
And we'd have burned our timeouts. We wouldn't have had time to move it down the field. That's it.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead, Justin.
No, I was just saying, and Foles was a little rusty when he came out. He didn't connect on his first passes. Actually, There was some hopelessness going on in that third quarter when he came in. And we was like, man, Mitch throwing interception. And then now we're in a situation where, because Allen Robinson, he was in another situation where he did fight for the ball, got the ball snatched out of his hands again, and that ended up leading to a Nick Foles interception. And Bears fans were pretty down from that point on. And then suddenly, this glorious moment took place, and next thing you know, here come the Bears out of nowhere. I'm still in shock, man.
So am I, and it's like I thought after Tariq Cohen was out, you didn't see a whole lot from David Montgomery, and that's credit to the Falcons run defense. It wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't there. But the thing was that what I didn't understand early on is, why didn't you just air it out? Like this team is dead last in the pass. Why don't you slowly mix in that play action at the beginning of the game and then start airing it out? Like Mitch was beating these guys deep. And Mitch doesn't beat guys deep. He missed passes later on before he got benched. But early on, I thought he hit his passes. He was doing all right. And then all of a sudden, it was like they try to run without realizing, hey, maybe they're ready for that run. Maybe we should hit them with a little fake out and then go, and then try to get yards that way. I thought like I said, Mitch played his ass to the bench. That's a given. But I just felt like I said, he was never Nagy's guy, because you see the play calling difference you saw Nick Foles' play calls, like play calls that would be successful with Nick Foles being called for Mitch. You know what I'm saying? Majority of the time. So I always felt like Nagy never wanted him, and he was just like, all right, we have to deal with the cards. We have to take care of the cards we've been dealt. But Nick Foles, it's like I said, Shawn, like you said, it's different. It's different, man. The guy, he came in there and like you said, he struggled. Got one touchdown pass taken away. Got another touchdown pass taken away. Then came back out and nothing happened. Like nothing happened. And threw three more. It was like there's a difference with this team when you have a competent quarterback.
And there's something miraculous about Nick Foles. And this is why I got my Bears going to the Super Bowl, baby. And y'all need to get on this train right now, son. Y'all need to get on this train with me, man. Come on, son. Come on, Ivan. Come on, Jason. Come on, Lance. Make them dance. Come on, Maya. We need y'all on this bandwagon right now.
I think Maya still, she got 1 foot here, 1 foot in Minnesota. Although I don't know how much longer she wants to keep her at 1 foot in Minnesota.
You talking about the Cubs train, Joseph?
Yeah. The Cubby Blue. No, I'm just checking.
Oh, you got jokes. You got stupid jokes this morning. I see. Okay.
We'll get to them later. No, just laugh.
We might not even talk about them at the top of the morning segment, just so I have to hear you and Ivan come at me.
Hey, I love how you moved them down in the rundown, too. That's all good, though. It's all good. We still love you, though.
I'm gonna put them at the bottom, after the 11:30 segment. Oh yeah, by the way, another top segment. If we get to them, the Cubs.
The conspiracy is true. The media is controlled.
So you know what? It was a good thing, and there's a lot of good things we want to talk about. And don't forget, 10 o'clock at the top of the hour, Lauren Cox from the Locked on Bears podcast is going to call in, and man, we're going to have a good conversation with him, because this was awesome. And I'll tell you what, it was, the tight ends were used. Jimmy Graham was used. Man, how simple was that, dude? How simple was that? He's 6'7". He literally went and turned around, fought the dude off, caught the ball. Like, you're too small. You're too damn small. You can't mess with me. And you look at that and you're like, you don't even want to celebrate, because it looks like a big guy like beating up his little brother. Like taking, scoring on his little brother. Like, dude, it's not fair.
That's right.
You know what? But it's for us. How many times have we seen that against us? And now we got a guy who can do that for us. I'm telling you, when they put that starting 5 rotation in there, and they'll put him, Allen Robinson, Cole Kmet, Javon Wims. Come on, man. Put all go-getters, big 6'3". Javon Wims is the shortest one, is 6'3".
Right.
Come on, man. Like, all the guys who can go get it.
We got a Who squad out there. We got a
That's
Who
what
squad.
I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
In the words of Stacey King, we got a mouse in the house. You know, that's how Jimmy Graham was like, yeah, we got a mouse in the house. We got a mouse in the house. Throw it to me in the post.
Yeah.
It to me in the post.
Literally, that's all they did. That's all the touchdown to Jimmy Graham was. And this is what remember I had said. And again, if I'm gonna give Nagy all the static that I give him, then I have to give him credit when he makes great play calls like that, because that's what stuff I wanted him to do with Javon Wims. Okay, Javon Wims, you're just gonna have to go throw it up because he's 6'3", but he's got a 37-inch vert. All right, sorry, dude. That's 6'3" with a 37-inch vert, man. Like the trajectory in that, it's got to go just straight. You know, throw it at maybe throw it 10 feet high just on a rope where he can get it, or 10.5 feet high so he can jump up and get it over the DB. You know what? Now we have. Once we incorporate Wims, in addition to we saw Allen Robinson go get it, we know he can go get it,
right?
And then Jimmy Graham, you got three deadly weapons in the red zone. And you know what? Matt Nagy is he's living life right about now.
Shout out to Allen Robinson too, who put the contract business aside and balled out yesterday. You know, like
man.
I mean, like I was like, okay. They need to give him his money now. Like
he's like, oh, okay.
I was like this. I was like, oh, okay, let me shut up. You know, yes.
all I could think of was him running down the sideline. F you, pay me. F you, pay me.
I was like, he broke 2 tackles, man, because I think he was so ticked off from getting that first touchdown, snatching him, and then that built up his momentum, bro. I mean, he came out like the Hulk, bro. He broke 2 tackles, man, and took it to the house. I mean, his brother was tired, man. He was like, you know what? You're not going to stop me from getting in the end zone on this possession.
And that motivation is what was great about him. You know, he had 10 catches, 123 yards in that tutty. I'll tell you what, F you, pay me. That's it. F you, pay me. And you know what? He hasn't talked about it in the media anymore since they asked him about it. He's just gone to the field. He went to the field yesterday and did it. He said, okay, you're going to pay me, because if you're not, I'm going to put up these numbers, these crazy numbers, that somebody will pay me. And now that we have a more competent quarterback, here's what's going to happen. Here's what I feel is going to happen. First of all, the loss of Tariq Cohen is huge. God bless it, that's huge. But you know what? We'll talk about that in a second. We got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
5 at the line of scrimmage, a possible 6th.
Montgomery to his right, slot to the left, 3 receivers, tight end left side as well. Here's the snap. Good rush. They throw as he's hit into the end zone. Touchdown! Middle of the end zone. A beautiful throw ball to Anthony Miller, and the Bears have the lead.
Bears ready with the call. Anthony Miller on the catch from Nick Foles. 30-26, the victory over the Falcons. Chicago rallying back from a 16-point deficit to win it. Foles coming in to replace Mitchell Trubisky after an ineffective start. 16 of 29 passing for Foles, 188 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was picked off once. Trubisky, 13 of 22, 128 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 833-8-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 833-8ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Sitting here with Joseph Phillips. He's a sports editor for the Chicago Crusader, and he sits in every show here on our top of the morning segments. And, we were talking right before the break about Tariq Cohen. I was about to say how huge of a loss Tariq Cohen's lost for the season with a torn ACL. He'll be back next season, good as ever. But this year is going to be different. It's going to suck, and here's why. With Nick Foles is the kind of guy, because he doesn't know any of these people, because he doesn't know Allen Robinson. He doesn't know Anthony Miller. He doesn't know. He hits the open man. He goes through his progressions. He goes through his progressions quick. He's able to decipher defenses. So even before the snap, he says, okay, this is a defense that they're most likely going to run because I've seen it on film. And by the play call that we have, most likely this guy's going to be open. He's not going to throw to him because he thinks he's going to see, but he already has an advantage because he has an idea of who's going to be open. He's going to use all the receivers. He's going to use a slew of receivers. And what that's going to do is that's going to help Allen Robinson immensely. Because if you want to double team him and then you let Anthony Miller go wild, then you're going to say, okay, then you realize how good Anthony Miller is. Then you may have to want to double team him. Then he'll hit Javon Wims for 3 or 4 catches a game. Then you saw a big catch from Ted Ginn Jr. yesterday as well. Okay, he's going to hit all these people, and Tariq Cohen would have been that person, that Darren Sproles type of running back that the reason that they drafted him, but he would have been extremely potent in this offense with a competent quarterback. When he goes through his progressions and he can't find anybody, boom, he's going to hit Tariq Cohen. And because he goes through his progressions, he's looking downfield. People are dropping, and you put Tariq Cohen in space. That's huge. So now when he hits the open receiver, and I'm talking about Nick Foles, you can't cheat on one guy because the rest of these receivers can beat you. Anthony Miller can beat you. Okay. Tariq Cohen was the guy, but Ted Ginn Jr., if you don't watch out, that 35-year-old man, he's going to be able to beat you. Darnell Mooney, he's a youngster. He'll be able to beat you, and because of the fact that he's got a good quarterback who will throw you open. And that's going to help Allen Robinson, and it just really stinks that Tariq Cohen is going to be part of this fun offense moving forward.
Yeah, so I hope they make this type of adjustment, Shawn, that they move Cordell Patterson to that backfield position where Tariq Cohen was successful at, because it was unfortunate for Tariq Cohen because he was just starting to get a rhythm in the offense. He was getting large runs, breakaways, making runs after the catch. And also he's putting nice juke moves on individuals, So hopefully Cordell Patterson we can add him into that slot area, even though he's much bigger than Tariq Cohen. He's not a scoop back like he is, like a Darren Sproles was. But at the end of the day, he's still strong. He's still fast, and he can come out the backfield and make plays. So either way it goes, I can interchange them, and I'd rather have him. And I'm not saying I don't want Tariq Cohen, but just imagine that physical presence coming out the backfield. You trying to tackle that guy at full speed. You see what I mean? On a RPO.
He's done a much better job than I anticipated as a running back. I didn't give him the credit that he deserved. I thought he was kind of a gimmick, and he's not. He's a one cut runner. Mm-hmm. And when he plants that foot and he cuts it upfield, he runs with power. He runs angry. He runs on a mission. And you see a lot of arms bouncing off his thighs, and he's not coming down with arm tackles. And again, my hat's off to Cordell Patterson. I misunderstood you. I misunderstood you, but I underestimated you as a running back. And I'm okay with him being there. Now we need to go pick up somebody else, but yeah. I'm more than okay with Cordell Patterson, in the backfield with a weird number 84.
Yeah. And weird. I remember us talking about Shawn. It was the only thing, and my buddy who was here on the podcast yesterday, Darius, he had mentioned it, and I think he's absolutely right. The only different, like he's such a it looks like he's a natural running back. I just don't think he understands how to get low, like how to keep it, like change his level, like his body level. I think he runs. He runs too upright, and then on some of his catch and runs or his runs, for some reason he'll try to bounce out when he should go forward for and that's the difference. But
there's nuances
other than that,
position.
Right. Other than that, it's one cut, and you have to tackle him. You have to wrap him up, because otherwise you're going to bounce off of him, and he's going to go for another 20 yards.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There were some little nuances that he didn't. Like a couple of times I thought he could have cut in, even though there was pressure coming in from the inside. That's where you stiff arm and you keep going. You know what I mean? That's where, you cut inside, because once you get inside that block, and I know you're fast. But the fact is you don't want to get to the out. The more you go east-west, the more you give other people a chance to get to you. Once you find that hole, put your foot in the ground and you go. And he can go. And so there's just some nuances that he's got to do. He's got to pick up from the running back position, and I think he'll be great. Reading, run, and play action with Patterson. Oh yeah, I'm telling you this. You know what? We got another comment. So Armando Lara Jr. Thanks for the question. There was another one. John Neal, is that more a Nagy play caller, or that Nick just more comfortable in this offense? I think it's a combination of both. I think Matt Nagy wants to run his style of offense. I think Nick Foles is that guy who can run that type of offense. So the play calling is going to be a lot more conducive to Nick Foles, pass happy, and they're going to go with it, man.
Yeah, it looked like Nagy threw out the high school playbook and the college playbook when Foles got in the game. He was like, "Man, we about to turn it up right now." He's like, "We're going all pro. We calling every play imaginable." I can tell. Even Nagy's confidence went up when Foles got out there. Even when we were losing, there was a certain confidence that was there that if we lose this game, we still want to see Foles progress. You see what I mean? We just want to see. Bears fans were kind of thirsty to see how this offense should be actually ran by a person who actually played in this offense in the past. And what Nick Foles showed yesterday is that if you implement and execute everything according to the way they want things ran, we actually looked a little bit like the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm not going to hate anything on Kansas City, but Kansas City, we coming for y'all. Watch out for Chicago in 2020. Watch out for us.
I don't know if we're ready to step up to that level yet, but I'll tell you what, our offense is a lot more competent. It's a lot more exciting. And you know what? The one thing, and we got to move on to the next top of the morning. But the one thing is that the touchdown pass to Anthony Miller. He in the press game, in the post game, he was like, "I just told him get to the L, and kind of like backyard football." But he realized what they're going to run. He'd been running man the whole time, and when you run man, the most difficult route to run to cover in man is a crossfield route. It's the most difficult route to you cover. Like, you just can't cover it, right? Because once he gets inside position, once he gets inside position and he breaks away from you, first of all, you got to stop, and there's already separation, and now you're trailing the entire route. And that's exactly what he said. And that's exactly what Nick Foles says, to just get to the L. If you watch that play, Nick Foles got hit, and he didn't even get to follow through. His arm was still in the air when he got hit, but he got it he threw it at that L, and Anthony Miller ran right underneath it.
That was a beautiful throw by Foles, and he got hit as he was throwing. He followed through on the throw, and like you were saying, that's one of the hardest routes to guard is a cross route. And I said, unless you have Deion Sanders speed, where you can run past the ball and the receiver and still make the play. But other than that, what a miraculous play. It was beautifully done. Shout out to Matt Nagy, Nick Foles, reuniting. It feels so good, And we're 3-0, baby. 3-0.
We're 3-0, and I'll tell you what, it's a different feel. We were 2-0 going into the game, and there was a feel we're waiting for the other shoe to fall. All right, we're waiting for to lose, and when they got up, we're like, okay, see, here it is. It was fool's gold. Once Nick Foles came in, that changed completely, and it's not fool's gold anymore. You have a legitimate, competent Super Bowl winning quarterback running that offense, and you watch. Even though the first interception, he went down and he sliced that defense like a hot knife through butter, and he continued to go down and slice that defense because they were horrible. That defense was horrible, and you know what? It was like taking candy from a baby, just constantly getting chunk yards, taking what they gave you, which was a lot most of the plays. And Nick Foles is smart enough not to do too much. What do they give you? And again, they were giving him a lot because of the fact that their defense was horrible, and he was taking a lot, and it was great to see.
Yeah, you know what? We got a comment from Armando Lara Jr. How do the Bears file a complaint to the league about the O-line mugging Mack and the refs not calling it? And I think he's absolutely right. Khalil Mack has been he's been robbed. He's been jumped. Every time the ball is snapped, Khalil Mack is jumped. This is a mugging. Like Armando said, he is being held at every point of his body is being held. He's still fighting through. And he still can't pick up a sack. You know what I'm saying? He still can't. I know there was a penalty on the one that he had where he destroyed Matt Ryan. I mean, Matt Ryan had no clue that was coming. The ball was out. We would have, the game would have changed. You know what I mean? Sudden change. All of a sudden, the Bears are in a good position with Mitch still in the game. Now, it's something to be said because Mack is still getting to the quarterback, but we all see it. We see him get chipped by two tight ends plus the tackle, plus another guy's coming over there to grab him by his waist before he could get to the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? It's enough's enough. Something has to get I know you don't want to be that guy. Hey ref. But sometimes I think it's necessary. Sometimes I think if it's blatant like that, you need to get in that ref's ass and be like, hey man, look at this.
Yeah.
Well, there's a procedure. What they do is every week you send. You have the ability to send plays, a certain number of plays, if I'm not mistaken, to the league for review. And I know the Bears do this for mostly Mac because there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, you just can't continue. If you did on the street what they do to Khalil Mack, you'd be arrested.
That's
okay,
right.
It's completely unfair. It's completely unfair, and I get it because you want to call it every play because they do it every play. But my thing is, if they do it every play, then call it every play because it's not his fault. That's the nature of the beast. Sometimes you get someone who's just so much better, and they can dominate the game, and that's what Khalil Mack does. But when you allow people to hold him, to grab him, to trip him, and he can't dominate the game, that's not legal. If that was legal, fine. But that's not legal, and you're not calling it, and that needs to be called. And it's not. And I'm not even going to buy the no preseason, the no OTAs. That's blatant.
Right.
That's blatant, and they need to do something about it because I'll tell you what, our defense would be so much better. Our sacks, our strip force fumbles, all those things would be so much higher if this playing field was level.
Right.
Khalil Mack just can't be stopped.
And Shawn, just to add insult to injury, what you were saying, the Atlanta Falcons only had one penalty in the first half. I'm just like, are you kidding me? I mean, they were throwing flags. I know the Bears, pretty much earned those flags and some of the dumb mistakes that they were making. But like you said, if you're missing holding calls like that against one of the top pass rushers in the NFL, that's a problem. They have to change that up. It's almost like when Derrick Rose used to go to the hole and they never called fouls for him. I didn't understand that. You're getting all this contact in the air and no foul call, but he'll still make the shot because he has the ability to improv in the air. And it's the same thing with Khalil Mack. He's one of the greatest pass rushers that this game has ever seen. And it's unfortunate that he's being held almost on every possession.
You're destroying his legacy. That's what you're doing. Because he's not having those big plays. He's not having those sacks, strip, forced fumbles, scooping scores. He's not having all that. Okay, they're not allowing him to have that because they're allowing other people to hold him, and that's unfair. That's unfair because his legacy is going to be something completely different. All they can do is continue to send film in every week to the league for the infractions that they believe need to be called. That's all they can do. Complaining about is not going to do anything. Him complaining about is not going to do anything. This is what you have to go through the proper channels, and the Bears are. And if the NFL if the NFL doesn't talk to the refs about it, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, there are a couple other things, and we're going to get into that a little later. But I want to switch or go on to the next top of the morning topic, and I know you and I are going to be happy. Cubs with a big win. They held on to beat the good guys from the South Side yesterday, 10-8. 10-8. You know what? There's a lot of good things that went on here. Azalea for the Cubs, he gets the win. He's 1-1, went 5 innings, 2 hits, earned run, 2 walks, 8 punch outs. You got big contributions, big home runs from Chris Bryant, David Bodie, and Hamilton even got a home run in there as well. They're going to host the Florida Marlins. You know what? Chris Bryant, he had 2 homers all season going into the series. He hits 2 homers in this series. This could be the awakening of Chris Bryant. And if you wake up Chris Bryant right now, you better watch the hell out because he is a former league MVP. This is a guy who can carry you for 2 weeks. And if he carries this team for 2 weeks, you're looking at the World Series. You're looking at playing in the World Series. So it could be, timing is everything. And it could be the perfect time right now. It is the perfect time for Cub fans if Chris Bryant is coming out of his slump. There was a thing. Talk to me. What do you feel about the edgy Chris Bryant? He says, I don't give a shit about the critics. When people ask him about it. And me personally, I like that Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant's always been just like a nice guy, uber talented. Don't get me wrong, but he never had that edge. He never had that desire to kill you. You know what I mean? To destroy you on the field. He just let his talent take over. And to me, when you get, it seemed like there was and I hate to say it, he didn't have that eye of the tiger. You know what I mean? When you come from a tough background or you come from certain thing and there's that edge, you always got to fight to prove yourself. He was given a lot. He was talented. He just never had that fight in him. He was just always a nice guy. I didn't want him to be nice. I wanted him to be nasty. Not a jerk.
Right.
Not a jerk, but I wanted him to be nasty. Give me your thoughts on this seemingly little, edgy Chris Bryant.
Well, he's transformed in the last 3 days from that California pretty boy, talk to my agent, Chris Bryant, to New York, Philly / Chicago, dirty in the streets, Chris Bryant. They just made him mad. You made the pretty boy mad. You don't make the pretty boy mad because you don't want to pick off Captain America. And that's what's happening right now. Captain America is back, okay? And he had to show it off against who? Our favorite buddies, our favorite rivals, the Chicago White Sox, who pretty much came in our stadium and utterly destroyed us. So we had to return the favor.
You know what? There you go. See, Ivan?
Woo-wee! KB, baby. He's back.
You know what? And that could be. That very well could be. And I think it might be. And as I said, if Chris gets hot, I think there's gonna be a lot of people who ride his coattails. I think he's gonna be like the table setter. By that I mean it might turn Javi, get his game up, get Rizzo's game back up, Wilson Contreras' game back up, and you don't want those guys, all those guys, and you just need them for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Get those guys, maybe 3 max. You get those guys. If all those guys can start firing on all cylinders,
right?
Dodgers, watch out because that's a lineup, and I know Dodgers got great pitching, But man, if you get guys like Baez, Rizzo, Bryant, Contreras, Schwarber, Ian Happ, you get those guys all firing on the same cylinders. Everybody, they're all done with their slumps and they're all done with their poor season. They all start hitting to their career averages. Right. That's not a lineup you want to face. I don't care what kind of pitching you got, because as a good pitcher, you are going to leave one over the plate, and you can't leave one over the plate with any of those guys that I mentioned, because it's going a long, long way.
And Ivan said this a week ago. He said that normally these guys are performing at those low averages in the first part of the season or the first month of the season. And what I saw yesterday, yesterday and day before yesterday was a different
weekend.
Yeah, the weekend. I saw a different Chris Bryant. I saw attention to detail. He didn't miss a pitch. And I saw most people throughout the lineup didn't miss a pitch. They didn't waste any pitches. You see what I mean? And in addition to that, if it wasn't for Jason Kipnis and Jason Hayward dropping the ball in the infield, in the outfield, we actually probably would have had a sweep, because we had the momentum going even in game 2, to put the Sox away. But we, y'all are brothers, so we have to look out for y'all just a little bit.
Oh, gee, thanks. Hey, we'll go to the next top of the morning topic. My White Sox, they fell 10-8 yesterday, and you know what? And here's the thing that I was happy about. There's a couple things that I was excited about. One, the comeback, okay, because it was 10-1 at one point, and they. I know the old expression, Ricky's boys don't quit, but God bless it. You come back to 10-1 and you have 10. You're trading 10-8 with the tying run at the plate. Man, I'll tell you what. That shows that you have no give up. That you're resilient. You will fight to your final strike, which is exactly what you need in baseball in the playoffs, because it's not over until it's over. And Yoan Moncada with a home run the other day, and Luis Robert coming out. So you talk, we mentioned Chris Bryant maybe coming out of his slump. We had 2 guys who might be coming out of their slumps. And I'll tell you what, if those 2 guys come out of their slump, watch the hell out. Unfortunately, Tim Anderson had a really, really rough series. He's just not seeing the ball very well. Maybe he's trying to do too much. He finished second in the American League in the batting race. So he wins the batting title last year. You see? Wow.
And don't forget, Shawn.
What a jackbag. There you go, Ivan. Wow.
Hey, Shawn, don't forget, baby. Don't forget about the bat flip on Friday, okay? Don't forget about that bat flip by Wilson, old Wilson there, okay?
We're talking White Sox right now. We were talking Cubs a few minutes ago. We're talking White Sox right now.
Well, I was going to say, he learned that from Tim Anderson, man. Y'all didn't have to throw at us because of that, man. He learned that from your buddy, Tim. Woo! Woo! In the words of Ric Flair, woo! Man, he let that baby ride. But keep going, Shawn. I'm sorry.
See, when I ask Ivan to do something else, it takes like 2 days, and he has that thing done up in like 20 minutes.
Oh, that flip, baby. Woo!
Anyway, so my White Sox, who had the best record in the American League last week, decided to lose 6 in a row after they swept the Minnesota Twins. Lose 6 in a row, fall. All he needed was 1 in those games in Cleveland, and we're in division title. We win the division. Big difference. But isn't this exactly what I said, though, Ivan? I said last year, or going into the season, I said I think the White Sox are going to contend for a division title. And I think they're going to fall off at the end. And I didn't realize it was 162. It wasn't going to be 162, even 60. But even at that point, it played out exactly the way I thought. And it's just a good learning experience. I think it's a great learning experience, because now you go back with the motivation, like, okay, you go back and you see what you did wrong, and you realize that at that point is when you really got to turn it up a notch. At that point in that stretch, because it was that division was, even though we were up 3 games, it wasn't signed, sealed, and delivered. And they got it. Then that's a great learning point where they have to realize, and they will realize now, that you need to put your foot on the gas pedal all the way through until you are so everyone else is mathematically eliminated. And you know what? Now they got to go to Oakland.
Where do you point? And I'm not going to go directly at Ricky, but where do you point the blame at in this 8 for 10 losing streak? And losing 8 out of 10 games. You know what I'm saying? Where's the blame at?
The players. You know, I tweeted out yesterday as well. Tim Anderson, Dallas Keuchel, since you wanted to get in earlier in the season and call people out, then you're going to be held to a higher standard than Tim Anderson, Dallas Keuchel, Jose Abreu. You need to get your asses in front. There needs to be a players-only meeting when you lose 3 in a row, 4 in a row, because you know you're smack dab in the middle of a pennant race. Okay, or division race, smack dab in the middle. Cleveland wasn't going anywhere. Minnesota wasn't going anywhere. You knew what you were in, and they needed to step up and have a players-only meeting and say, "Hey, listen, all right, we need to get our act together. Whatever, and leave Ricky out of it. It has nothing to do with Ricky. Ricky, we give him a lot of flack a lot of the time, but Ricky's not up there swinging at balls out of the strike zone. He's not making base running errors, and he's not dropping fly balls. That's not Ricky. Ricky's not doing that. That's the players, and they needed to have a come to Jesus moment amongst themselves, and they didn't do that. And I was a little disappointed in that because we would have heard about it through the media. They had a players only meeting, so that to me that really got to me that they weren't on it, doggone it, and that really bothered me. But again, I love the way that Luis Robert was coming out the last 2 games. I love Yoel Moncada the last couple of games, and as I just mentioned earlier, if those 2 guys, if Lou Bob and Yo-Yo start turning it up, you better watch out.
I want to say one thing, and I think it goes back to you mentioning Ozzie and bringing somebody. It's not necessarily Ozzie. Like, get a manager in there. Because I think this team, as lovable as the Cubs were in 16, I don't think this team is that lovable team. I think this team will benefit greatly from somebody putting a boot to their ass every once in a while. I really do. I think they'll respond to that well because these guys are they're hungry, but they're still kids. A lot of them are kids.
Remember what we said? We noticed that once they clinched the playoff spot, it looks like they eased off the gas pedal. Mm-hmm. That's when we saw it, and then it was right. And I was like, man, they can't do that. They can't do that. And and really the only person around who had playoff experience was Keuchel. And at that point, he should have said, hey, listen, just because we clinched a playoff spot, we have bigger fish to fry. He should have been in on them like he was earlier in the season because they went on to win 6 in a row after he had his little speech. So,
hey, Shawn and Ivan, I got a suggestion for the Sox. Here it is. Bring somebody back from that 94 season where the Sox felt they had a chance to win the World Series that year. The season was cut short due to the strike. Bring them back and preach the importance of how to take advantage of a short season like this. This could be the continuation of that season. But if somebody can come from that roster and tell them, like, look, we thought we were going to be World Series champs back in 94. Y'all have a chance to do something great. Everything is 0-0. This team has great potential. I got 3 good starters that can throw out there against Oakland. And Oakland, even though they're a great team and they're one of the top teams in Major League Baseball, but I think the Sox play well against Oakland, on certain occasions. So I don't think you guys fear Oakland, man. I don't think you fear Oakland.
I don't either. Well, listen, guys, we got to run. Hey, Joseph, thank you, Papa. I appreciate it. Great stuff as always. We will see you on Wednesday, same bad time, same bad channel, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. God bless, guys. See y'all against those pesky mosquito-like Marlins. Go Bartman. Go Steve Bartman. I'm just playing.
Hey, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, my guy Kenneth Davis joins. He takes the baton from Joseph, and he's going to co-host with me for the next hour. And we're both going to talk to our guy, Lauren Cox. We have some Bears conversation up next. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning, right here on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
5 at the line of scrimmage, a possible 6th.
Montgomery to his right, slot to the left, 3 receivers, tight end left side as well. Here's the snap. Good rush. They throw as he's hit into the end zone. Touchdown, middle of the end zone. A beautiful throw ball to Anthony Miller, and the Bears have the lead.
Bears ready with the call. Anthony Miller on the catch from Nick Foles. 30-26, the victory over the Falcons. Chicago rallying back from a 16-point deficit to win it. Foles coming in to replace Mitchell Trubisky after an ineffective start. 16 of 29 passing for Foles, 188 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was picked off once. Trubisky, 13 of 22, 128 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at boomernaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330-95.9 The Zone.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 833-8-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago and his House Music Monday edition. Man, I'm telling you what, let me bring in my co-host. He's from That Davis Show, and you find him on Twitter at That's Davis. I think I got it. Let's bring in my guy. Yeah, baby. And I didn't practice it 5 or 7 times a day. I didn't. Let's bring him on. You can find him on Twitter. Remember, at That's Davis, Kenneth David. Kenneth, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Well, good, man. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good, man. So,
all right.
You know what? Let's me and you. We'll chop it up after our next guest. But we got the Bears talk to do, man. And I'm fired up about it because we actually got a quarterback. We got a quarterback. Hey, I feel like Eddie Murphy. I got some ice cream. You can't have that because you are on the welfare. We got a quarterback. So yeah. I'm fired up, and we're going to talk to our next guest, man, because he is a host of the Lockdown Bears podcast. He is a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at Cox Sports One, like Fox Sports One with a C. Man, let's bring him on, Lauren Cox. Lauren, what's up, Papa? How are you?
I'm pretty good, but how many times have you heard we've got a quarterback? We've got a quarterback in Chicago. Have you learned by now, Shawn?
Ooh,
yeah, but you know what? We do. We have. Hey, we never had a quarterback who came coming in wearing a big, blingy, shiny Super Bowl ring. Okay, we never had one who has had that. So and he can still walk. You know what I mean? Not someone is prime. We got a guy who I think it's. I mean, truth be told, Lauren, tell me because I'm gonna speak for myself, but I'm gonna ask you the question: did you feel comfortable or more at ease once he was in the game? Because I know I did. As even after that first touchdown, I was like, damn it, not again. But then after that first interception, I should say, not touchdown, but to Allen Robinson, man, I felt so at ease, and I actually went, wow, watching him play. Not that he's a gunslinger. He just got the ball to the guy. Here's a crazy idea: throw it to the guy who's open.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you 100%. It felt like for the first couple of drives, there was some rust he needed to knock off, right? I mean, like he even said, it's the first time Matt Nagy's ever actually called plays for him. They've been in the same offense, but Nagy would call the plays down to Andy Reid, and Andy Reid would call the plays into Nick Foles. So there was some adjusting there, some getting used to his receivers. I think you saw the timing be off a little bit here and there with some of the guys that he just hasn't had to actually throw to in a real NFL game before. But once he was dialed in, fourth quarter especially, you could feel the difference at the position, like the deliberate thought process that you could see Nick Foles make as he's working his way through his progressions and down the field. Like you could see when he's looking between two receivers and he's isolating a defender, he's waiting for the throw to be there. And maybe he checks down afterward. Like it just feels like there's an experience and an understanding there of how to play quarterback, how to read coverages. And I thought it was a fairly striking difference from the last throw we had seen Mitch Trubisky make, which was not understanding what coverage it was at all, getting deeper into his progression, not realizing it's a cover 2 zone, throwing it to Jimmy Graham on the crossing route right where a defender was waiting for it. And ultimately, I think that difference between the two quarterbacks is why we saw the change.
Lauren, let me ask you this. All right. Well, first of all, nice to meet you.
You too.
How long had Jimmy Graham and Nick Foles been planning this? All right. Because you could see when Nick Foles came out, it was like, I'm going to Jimmy Graham. But really, I want to ask you about Matt Nagy. Did Matt Nagy go to Nick Foles early? I think a lot of us thought perhaps Mitch had 2 more games to kind of have inconsistent play, maybe to play a half or not. But for me, being a Nagy guy, it was good that he was like, you know what? That was one pick, but that was enough. I'm going to him. So do you think he went to him early, or do you think he did the right thing?
I think it was bold to go to him when he did. I mean, I don't think a lot of us watching were it wasn't this huge clamor necessarily for Nick. I mean, there's always a little murmur for Nick Foles, but it wasn't like at that point everyone was throwing their hands up and saying, I'm done. You know, I think there was still some patience among the fan base, but Nagy clearly had been unsatisfied, I'd say, with even the first 2 performances, even though they were both wins. It felt like the first 3 quarters against the Lions really not where the quarterback play in Chicago needs to be. A lot of that game against the Giants, some ups and downs. So Nagy said afterward that he and his coaching staff talked about the possibility of making the quarterback change at halftime. So I think from there we kind of knew, I mean, if we had known at the time, I think for them it was sort of like one more big play like this, one more deflating mistake from the quarterback to make that decision. And clearly Matt Nagy has a pretty good sense of Nick Foles and this offense and what this offense needs. And I think he knew better than anybody when that change was going to be necessary. And his bold decision definitely paid off. I mean, scoreboard tells the whole story.
Facts.
Guys, we're joined by Lauren Cox. He is the host of the Locked on Bears podcast, talking Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Talk to me about how huge of a loss now that we have a competent quarterback. He would have been a huge loss regardless, but how huge of a loss is it going to be for us now that Tariq Cohen is out with a torn ACL? You know, now that we have a guy who can get the ball to everywhere, get it to the guy who's open, and oftentimes it would have been Tariq Cohen, whether it's down the field or as a check down. How big of a loss is that going to be for this offense?
I think we already started to see it yesterday. But I think one of Nick Foles' longest passing plays, at least initially, was a screen pass to Tariq Cohen where he caught it and ran like 25 yards after the catch. And it's not that impressive from Nick Foles, but it shows like the different ways that they could stretch opposing defenses horizontally in addition to some vertical throws from Foles. I think Matt Nagy was just sort of scratching the surface of what he wanted to do with Tariq Cohen and Cordell Patterson this year. We were starting to see more plays with the 2 of them in the backfield at the same time, do some different things from a creative standpoint. But from Matt Nagy's perspective, you don't want to throw everything out there right away, right? You just kind of want to do it as little as possible so defenses won't be able to prepare for it, won't be able to guess what's coming. And as the year goes on, you add in another wrinkle here and add in another wrinkle there. And by the time you get to the playoffs, maybe you still have a few things up your sleeve. So we never got to fully see the full Tariq Cohen experience in this offense. I'm confident in David Montgomery and Cordell Patterson being able to keep the running game going, but obviously there's going to be something missing in the passing game out of the backfield, and even Cohen's ability to play wide receiver a little bit too with the speed with him and Mooney and Patterson. I mean, the possibilities were endless, and now one less fun weapon for Matt Nagy to work with.
Lauren, 2 questions. The first one, I wanted them to have another running back in that running back room in general, just because of injury. And also, I thought they needed someone to be another battering ram, even though David Montgomery has shown himself to be a battering ram. So who do you think perhaps that there's out there that they can replace? Because you can't really get a kind of Inspector Gadget guy like Tariq Cohen just out on the heat. Darren Sproles isn't just somewhere sitting out on the heat, young enough to come and play. So who do you think they replace him with? But also in the play calling, I know they were playing from behind, but did Matt Nagy also show a sign of just like, first, I can really go into my bag with Nick Foles? Because to a certain degree, it was like, forget the run game. Yeah, David Montgomery has some long runs, but it was kind of like, no. I'm going to show you what I can do with a competent quarterback and all these weapons. So was that just based off of urgency, or was it based on the fact that, he wanted to show his brilliance to a certain degree?
Yeah, at running back, I wouldn't expect anything drastic. They're not going to go out and pay top dollar for whatever top free agent I would expect, one of the undrafted free agents, Artavis Pierce, maybe called up from the practice squad. If they're going to go outside the organization, maybe somebody like Spencer Ware, somebody that's had some experience in Matt Nagy's offense before. But I do think there's just more room for, Cordero Patterson, for example, against the Falcons. I think he played a total of 11 snaps at both wide receiver and running back combined. So there's more opportunity for him to get some more carries in some more different situations. And of course, Ryan Nall still has, he's very different skill set, but still can pound the rock a little bit and even get some fullback action. So I think we're going to see mostly some adjustment from within. But in terms of Nick Foles and the offense with Matt Nagy's play calling, I think we saw him open up a little bit more. I mean, a lot of Foles' early throws were check downs, and like his big touchdown to Allen Robinson, the one that Robinson pretty much did all the work. It was like a 12 or 15-yard curl where Robinson just turns around, catches it, and made some guys miss after the catch. And it would have been nice if he could have done that earlier in the game for Trubisky purposes, but it works. I mean, Nick Foles doesn't have to be throwing 25-yard darts every time. If he can just hit consistently some of the throws that Trubisky was missing, this running game can do some of the work. The defense can do some of the work. These receivers can do some of the work. And like that's sort of the point of Nick Foles, is to just get something more consistent at quarterback. And then when you need to, especially, in that last drive there, open it up a lot of 5 wide for Nick Foles out of the shotgun there, a whole field for him to work with. And he could just kind of go to Anthony Miller and say, hey, put a double move on your guy, and I'm going to throw it to the L in the end zone. And if there's pressure in my face, go up and get it. And I just don't think Trubisky has the experience or the veteran poise that Nick Foles has to be able to call all of that, prepare for all that, anticipate all that, and then deliver that type of a throw as he's being hit by a defender.
That was just that play, especially after he talked about it in the post game presser, it was so impressive. Who else impressed you? I mean, we knew what Nick Foles can do. We just hadn't seen him do it. He hadn't had the opportunity. Was there anyone else who impressed you on the offensive side of the ball yesterday?
I think we saw it started to look, once Foles was in the game, it started to look more like everybody. I mean, everyone was supposed to look. Allen Robinson started doing his thing after another interception that was semi his fault. Anthony Miller, the drop pass is kind of still haunting him from college, but gets open. I mean, that's sort of what we expect from Anthony Miller. I was glad to see Ted Ginn finally get involved on that last drive. I mean, that 4th down conversion that Nick Foles made to him on the corner route at the right end zone, or the right sideline, was almost, it might have been the best throw he made. I mean, the Anthony Miller throw was more impressive because he was being hit by pressure and falling away and kind of had to throw it to a spot. But as far as like a crucial throw on a key 4th down, tight coverage, right in kind of a little window between 2 zone defenders where Ted Ginn's going to the sideline, there's more room for Ted Ginn in this offense. There's more room for Javon Wims in this offense. And I'm still waiting for more tight end. I think Jimmy Graham continues to do really impressive things in the red zone. I mean, he is just a touchdown machine. You line him up one-on-one out wide. I mean, it was clear the Bears were trying to distract the whole defense to the left side of the field. He motioned the running back.
Look over here.
Yeah, so the whole defense was like looking at Tariq Cohen, and I mean, you could see Jimmy Graham's just one-on-one on the outside against the cornerback, and I'm sitting at home going, "Yep, it's going to Jimmy Graham and box him out, touchdown." Like that's what they paid Jimmy Graham for. But you'd like to see, Cole Kmet, Demetrius Harris, maybe more in between the 20s instead of in the red zone to kind of give a little bit more of that production over the middle. I think the Bears have a threat at tight end that was missing last season over the, in between the middle of the field, and defenses have to respect that more, but the production hasn't necessarily been there at that spot. And Nick Foles comes from a long history of feeding tight ends over the middle.
Listen, I have to say pause every time you do that. When you were like, I want to see some more tight end, I want to scream out pause. I know I'm being sophomoric. All right, look, let me ask you this, Lauren. Going to the defensive sides of the ball, first of all, I definitely want to know what your thoughts were on the defense's performance yesterday. There was a lot more pressure. But moving forward, now that you're 3-0, now that it seems like you have a quarterback, as you just said, can keep you in the games and also can perhaps go and win the game and can accentuate the assets that you have on offense, but also help that defense from keeping them off the field. Well, will the Bears perhaps, and I know we as Bears fans may not like this, take an asset, a future asset, maybe a 3rd-round pick, and try to go get a DT from somebody, because right now you basically can be in the playoffs. Like, I feel totally different today about the Bears than I did last week at this time about the Bears. You know what I'm saying? Just because competency. I hate to say that because I don't think any of us hate Mitchell Trubisky, as a person, but just to see competency, and it's like, okay, especially since we know the defense necessarily is the same defense as 2018.
Yeah, in terms of nose tackle, I mean, Damon Harrison is still out there, and he even tweeted that he's And he didn't say for sure that he's going to meet with the Bears, but kind of said he would be willing to. It's not really clear. He's got some interest in coming to Chicago at nose tackle. So I don't think they necessarily need to trade an asset to improve that position. But I also don't feel like on the list of things that went wrong with the Bears defense yesterday, I mean, it would be nice to have a better nose tackle. You could do better at nose tackle, but I'm much more concerned right now about the inside linebackers. Both Danny Trevathan and Roquan Smith have struggled.
But the nose tackle can help them, though.
Absolutely. But the problem, what I see is I see Roquan Smith like attacking. He's overrunning his gaps and attacking the wrong gaps. And if a defensive line was better up front, would he have more room to flow? Absolutely. But the missed tackles, the missed gaps, I feel like there's enough room where really competent inside linebackers can get there. And yesterday against the Falcons, the safeties were taking some pretty poor angles coming downhill, and that was a big problem. But at the same time, in terms of like the general state of this Bears defense, like they still held Matt Ryan to like 230 yards. I checked. Matt Ryan had a lower passer rating than Mitch Trubisky on Sunday. And I mean, maybe that says more about passer rating being a bad stat, but it's still, I mean, the quarterback that got benched had a better passer rating. I mean, the Bears gave up some yards to Calvin Ridley, but other than that, this Falcons passing game really wasn't doing a whole lot of damage. It was just Todd Gurley and Brian Hill were running all over them. Again, I felt more because both of these linebackers were really struggling. You know, if they did take on a block, they weren't able to get off of it. And if they had some room to run, they were overrunning their gaps. They weren't getting there fast enough in the case of Danny Trevathan. And then the safeties behind them were coming down at weird angles and not wrapping up when they got to the running backs. Yes, a better nose tackle, a better defensive line, more penetration there would definitely help. But I think if you could just get Danny Trevathan and Roquan Smith to play up to the level you should expect from them, I think a lot of your problems would be solved.
You know, I'm thinking staying with some snacks right there. I think he now seeing the level of the competency that you mentioned, Ken, at the quarterback position. I think he might feel, and hopefully he might feel, wow, I'm that dude because they lost Eddie Goldman. I'm that dude that they need to stop that run, because if they can stop the run, that defense can stop the run. And I'll tell you what, now that you got a competent quarterback, watch this. There's going to be more pressure. Chuck Pagano's not going to have a problem dialing it up.
Great point.
Because you know what? I got a quarterback who's going to hit the open guy. I got a quarterback who's going to keep me in the game.
If we get beat.
Handcuffs and shackles are coming off of Chuck Pagano, and I anticipate a lot more pressure coming in the upcoming weeks and the rest of the season as long as Foles is there, because I don't know if he's doing it himself or if Nagy or just in combination is saying, hey, just don't bring everything, because if we get burned, Mitch might not be able to bring us back, but we got somebody now, and I'm more than confident that they're going to bring it. But here, talk to me about this. In bringing pressure, you're going to leave your cornerbacks on an island, and we know Kyle Fuller's an All-Pro and has done it. Talk to me about Jalen Johnson. That joker looked like he was a 3 or 4 year vet yesterday.
Absolutely. And real quick with the nose tackle thing too, but like you make a good point that like you bring in a better nose tackle, it lets Bilal Nichols slide more to a normal natural position. And if you can stop the run a little bit better, then teams are going to have to pass more, and it's going to make your pass rush better. I agree 100%. But yeah, Jalen Johnson, I thought yesterday, I mean, Calvin Ridley was a challenge for everybody. And so like any rookie, he's going to make mistakes, but he's not making any more mistakes than we ever saw Prince Amukamara make in Chicago. You're 100% right. A 3 or 4 year veteran, some really savvy things that you see him do at the catch point, and never really getting burned in terms of biting on double moves or anything. I mean, he is a great vertical receiver. And I thought the Bears especially lucked out from not having to face Julio Jones, because you see Calvin Ridley be able to be more of that sideline stretcher, but not a guy that works over the middle of the field, whereas Julio Jones is the exact opposite. A lot of crossing routes, slant routes, drag routes, deep ins for Julio Jones. He does a lot of his damage there, which would have let the Falcons attack Danny Trevathan, Roquan Smith, and Tashawn Gibson, Eddie Jackson a bit more over the middle, and would have been less going after Jalen Johnson and Kyle Fuller, which is more advantageous for the Falcons at that point. So being able to have Johnson work vertically with Calvin Ridley and a lot of the other no-name guys on the Falcons receiving core, I think really helped him kind of stay in his comfort zone and led to, like you said, another really strong performance from, I think, one of the front runners for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Lauren, let me ask you this. What's the difference now in record-wise as far as your prediction of what the Bears was going to be if Mitch had stayed in compared to what they may be now with Nick Foles moving forward?
That's a good question, because I still don't know what exactly this Bears team is. I mean, between the Lions, Giants and Falcons, they all have one win between them up to this point. And I was surprised to see the Lions even get that one yesterday. But so like the quality of opponent's going to go up. Like the Colts have Philip Rivers, and they're a better team than what the Bears have faced. And then the Buccaneers with Tom Brady. I was originally kind of seeing this team as like an 8-8, 9-7 team, and I think Nick Foles definitely pushes me more toward the 9-7, 10-6 range. I have a lot more faith in them being able to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be. Yeah, I don't necessarily know yet that they're going to win the division. I don't think they're better than Green Bay yet, even with all of this. But the fact that the Vikings are a lot worse than we thought they might be, and the Lions continue to stink it up, I think I'm willing to add another couple win or two to the Bears record. And I'm curious to see how this defense holds up moving forward. If Nick Foles can kind of maintain this consistency, if the receivers can kind of get their stuff together after a real lackluster first half yesterday, and if the offensive line can hold up when the quality of defenses and pass rushes starts to go up.
Guys, we're joined by Lauren Cox. He is the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. For a few more minutes, we're talking a little Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. I think that's going to, you talked about that. I think they go hand in hand. I think it's going to do the offense is going to help the defense, and defense is going to help the offense. One of the guys that I was a little disappointed in yesterday was Eddie Jackson. He gave up that big play to Calvin Ridley. They're boys. They played better. They played at Alabama together, and I just saw him take his eyes were in the backfield, and he let him run right by him. Talk to me a little bit about him. Was that just because it was his performance yesterday? Was that just because he knew Ridley so well? Because usually he doesn't let people get behind him. He's more fundamentally sound than that. Was that just because it's a real personal thing, or what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to know, right? I think we get those every once in a while. Even the greats will have off games and off performances. And I don't think Eddie Jackson was terrible, but it wasn't the same standard of consistency that you're used to. But I thought it spoke even larger to the whole Bears defense just being more sloppy. I mean, I think we've seen them be sloppy a little bit through each of the three games. Like a lot of penalties, first of all, that killed. I mean, it feels like they're coming on third downs at key situations where you take away the penalty and the defense would have been getting off the field. It would have had the offense in a really difficult situation, or like the sack forced fumble that ended up coming back with a roughing the passer penalty. You can complain about the flag all you want, but it's still, I mean, at the end of the day, it counts as a penalty against the Bears that neutralized the turnover. And it feels like, if Eddie Jackson is himself and makes that is better coverage there, and you take away some of those penalties and you add that forced fumble in, or last week against the Giants, it was the pick six that got called back. And, against the Lions, there were a couple of really key penalties on some drives that let Matthew Stafford finish with touchdowns instead of punts or field goals. Like, I feel like if you can go back through on this Bears defense and change 2 or 3 plays in each game, and all of them being self-inflicted wounds where the defense makes a mistake that it's not the other team got the best of them. It's just that the Bears weren't themselves. They weren't what they were supposed to be doing. I think we're having a very different conversation about the defense. I mean, the run defense concerns would still be there. Some of the other, depth concerns might still be there, but it wouldn't have been 26 points for the Falcons, and it wouldn't have been as close with the Giants, and it wouldn't have been as many points for the Lions. And I think we'd feel a lot better for the Bears defense, if not for 2 or 3 plays. So like, it feels like those should, in theory, correct themselves, and you should then have a Bears defense we can feel better about, even with the weaknesses that still exist. But it's going to come down to coaching. It's going to come down to consistency and durability with injuries and everything. And it's all there, right? I mean, this Bears defense is all there to be the top defense in the NFL, a top 5 defense in the NFL, and we just need to see them do it and get back to who they are.
Or let me ask you this: as far as Eddie Jackson, I want to stay with that before you leave. You mentioned the greats, and I don't know if necessarily you were implying that he's one of them, but initially I did believe he would remain in that rare air as far as the upper echelon of safeties in the NFL. And I don't feel like that he played like that last year, and this year it's around, but it's still not the same. Now, is that him, or is this a Chuck Pagano situation of not putting him in the proper places that he needs to be? Since the last couple of years, the last year and a half or a few games, he hasn't been the same player as he was the first couple seasons.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not fair to try and make him Ed Reed. I mean, we all want him to be like Ed Reed after what we saw in 2018. It's like, oh man, like this is going to be an all-time great Bears safety. And I think to some extent, it's not fair to expect 2018 Eddie Jackson every year and every week. So
you're not going to get that many turnovers all the time.
Definitely. But I think some of it can be coaching. I mean, last year, Eddie Jackson had to play a lot more up in the box and in the slot and wasn't able to be as much of a deep free safety. And I think we're still seeing some of that this year, but less of that, more closer to his 2019 playing time. But I also think the quality of team around him has gone down. I mean, there's been a drop-off, I think, in overall cornerback talent. Jalen Johnson's been playing pretty well, but I think Buster Screen isn't quite as good as Bryce Callahan. Kyle Fuller isn't quite as good as he was in 2018 also, because, again, you can't get that many turnovers every year, and there's going to be mistakes with Jalen Johnson. I think we see the linebacker play be not quite as good, the defensive line losing Eddie Goldman, and the pass rushes seems to be getting back up to 2018 standard, but certainly was an issue in 2019 that made Eddie Jackson's job more difficult. And then the offense, too. I mean, when you're winning games, it's really easy for a free safety to get a little aggressive, play back there, and feel like he could take some of those chances and make some of those big plays. But when the offense hasn't been able to keep up and the defense has needed to be a little bit more conservative in that regard, Eddie Jackson can't be that big-time elite playmaker at safety. So I think Eddie Jackson is the same Eddie Jackson, and as everything else around him improves, then we'll see his level of play improve a little bit more. And so I think he's in this Pro Bowl very good safety tier, but maybe not quite like Ed Reed Hall of Fame safety tier.
I feel the same way.
Guys, he's Lauren Cox. He's the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. Hey, great stuff, buddy. You know, we can talk football for hours, man. Hours. Do me a favor, man. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Hey, you always do a great job of plugging that when you bring me in. It's on Twitter at Cox Sports One, like Fox Sports One with a C. Eventually, I'll come up with something else clever to change that too, but I've been rolling with it for a while now. You can hear me 5 days a week on the Locked On Bears podcast. Also an analyst for Pro Football Focus, and dabble in the writing every once in a while over at Bears Wire.
Yeah.
Great stuff, buddy. Great stuff. Bear the freak down, baby. 3-0, and the Colts, baby. We're gonna handle them when the first quarter of the season, and man, it's all. My outlook this year is now after this quarterback change is so much different. It's just so much different. A competent quarterback's can help everybody out, offense, defense, and it's gonna. I think we're gonna start to see that defense be a little more opportunistic like they were 2 years ago. So thank you, Matt Nagy. Okay, finally for making that move, and it's great to be a Bear fan today. Let me tell you.
And enjoy your house music victory Monday.
Will do. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Thanks.
Later.
Oh man, I'm telling you, dude, that was crazy yesterday.
So your boy. So what about your soldier being sat down? Your soldier. I want to hear the Beyonce Destiny Child song, Soldier. Your soldier. All right, got sat down.
Yeah, he wasn't getting it done, and I wanted him to get it done. I was hoping and praying that he was able to get it done.
That's the soldier right there, Ivan.
He didn't get it done.
I deleted that. I deleted that, Kenneth. I was getting too happy with it. I was getting too happy.
No, it's fine. I didn't even listen. It's fine. It's fine. But it was just on my mind because it's just now we see. Now you give Matt Nagy a guy that can actually get the ball there. Wow, it's amazing. I've been waiting today to do that one to you, Shawn.
Hey, all I'm going to say is this. Hey, Mitch Trubisky threw 3 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter as well. So
listen. You know how weak that was. Wait. Who beat the Giants yesterday? Listen, the 49ers with the scabs that were on the Bears in 86, 87, or whatever year that was that they were on strike. They beat the Giants yesterday. They kicked the crap out of the Giants, and we can only beat them in the last quarter. Your precious Mitchell Trubisky. All right.
So the guys from 86 are still playing, huh? Wow.
Right. Yes.
They must have had a whole bunch of Ben Gay in that.
A lot of Ben Gay. Rubbing it.
That had to be a great smell down at the stadium. Oh, man.
Smell like Ben Gay, Old Spice, and cigarettes.
That's probably the best assumption. That's a good synopsis. Hey, we got to take a break, and we're going to, on the other side of the break, we're going to talk a little Cubs baseball as the regular season comes to an end, and the Cubs did a number on my White Sox yesterday, although the White Sox did make it interesting late. You know what? But I know Kenneth's mad. I'm a little pissy about it too. But you know what? We're going to talk to Andy Cruz-Vanasek. She's the co-host of Cup of Cubby Blue. So we're going to get a Cubs perspective and what they're as they place the Florida Marlins. Is Bartman going to be there?
That's wrong. That's wrong.
I'm just asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend.
Don't put that on that man. Put that on Moises. Don't put that on that man.
Oh, mister, I need to urinate.
Carrying on my hand? Yeah, I know, right?
All right, we're going to stay here. We're going to talk to Andy Cruz, Vanasek, up next right here at Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
5 at the line of scrimmage, a possible 6th. Montgomery to his right, slot to the left, 3 receivers, tight end left side as well. Here's the snap. Good rush. They throw as he's hit into the end zone. Touchdown, middle of the end zone. A beautiful throw ball to Anthony Miller, and the Bears have the lead.
Bears ready with the call. Anthony Miller on the catch from Nick Foles. 30-26, the victory over the Falcons. Chicago rallying back from a 16-point deficit to win it. Foles coming in to replace Mitchell Trubisky after an ineffective start. 16 of 29 passing for Foles, 188 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was picked off once. Trubisky, 13 of 22, 128 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Man, good stuff with Lauren Cox, man. Love talking football with that dude, man. Good stuff. Now we got to get into this side of the crosstown.
I know you bring me into this, right? I looked at the rundown today. I was like, really? Oh boy, right? Joseph couldn't take care of this one. I'm joking, but I was like,
it was a coin flip. It was like both Sox fans. I'm like, all right, who's gonna have it? All right.
I got some Cubby questions. I finished watching that game this morning actually because at the 7th, I checked out after the 7th.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. I left and I turned it back on and I pick up my mom and then I'm coming back and I'm like, the game's still on. I'm like, what's going on? Why? Right. That was like 20 minutes ago. I put this and we're in the bottom of the 9. It's 10-8. 10-8. What the hell happened? What the hell, Bobby?
I would be upset if I had continued to watch that game and they brought me within 2 runs. Do you know how upset it would have? I'm happy I found out later. It would have ruined my Bears Monday, to say the least.
Let's bring on our next guest. She is the co-host of the Cup of Cubby Blue podcast. It is an SB Nation site dedicated solely to Cubs fans, the people over on Addison, Clark and Addison. You can find her on Twitter at BRYZ_blue. Guys, let's bring back and welcome back Andy Cruz, Vanasek. Andy, how are you, dear?
Well, good morning, fellas. Happy Victory Monday.
Yeah.
Listen, and there are rules behind saying the B word. When you say the B word, you have to drink. So I don't care what time of day it is. You say Bartman, you have to drink. I'm already making rules for the Marlins series. Okay.
That is a good thing though. When you watch it, that's one hell of a good drinking game.
I'm not going to remember my own name.
I will say
they're going to say it so many times. I'm not even going to know where I'm at.
I'm going to tell us about you Cub fans. You guys do know some good drinking games.
They set us up for it. It's easy, Yeah,
it's going to be fun to watch. And you guys, so you're excited. Obviously, Cubs are in the playoffs, and you know what? They're hosting the Marlins, as we well know. Give me your thoughts, okay? Yesterday this weekend I saw some guy come out of a slump. I think Chris Bryant. I think if he comes out of that slump, I think that could be very, very dangerous for whoever's on that mound pitching against him and the rest of the Cubs.
Well, I would like to thank Anthony Rizzo and Mike Napoli for the slump busting that happened this weekend, because I don't know if you noticed, but old dude was wearing 2 chains and high socks. And apparently that's all it took. So I will take it.
2 chains.
He was Anthony Rizzo, when he wears the 2 chains, he's Tony 2 Chains. Now we got KB 2 Chains. So I don't care. I don't care what needs to happen, but he needs to wear that the whole rest of the playoffs this year. He looked awesome. It was such a huge weight to see him go out there and actually have some really good at bats. And he looked a little bit more playful, like he was loose and having fun. And we haven't seen that side of him very much this season. And I don't know if it's like new dad lag or what the situation was, but I feel like he might be on the verge of coming back. And that's good news for Cubs fans.
Real quick, do you could it be, he seemed a little edgy. I was talking to Joseph amongst this earlier.
That's so great.
I was talking to Joseph Phillips on it. Chris Bryant got a little edgy the other day, when people asked him about the criticism, and he said, quote unquote, he goes, "I don't give a shit." And Chris was always like the nice, clean cut guy, oh darn shucks. And for him to come out like that, almost like Leave It to Beaver type deal, you know what I mean? He's just that type of guy. But him having his edge, with him being uber talented, when you get a guy who's uber talented like Chris Bryant is, and then you get an edge to them, that could be very dangerous. How are you liking this edgy Chris Bryant?
Well, prior to that interview, that Zoom interview, the most edgiest thing he had said was St. Louis is boring, and had a whole entire city up in arms over this. And everybody's like, calm down. This is Chris Bryant, the most, nicest, most polite, kind player on our team that's not going to say 2 bad words. So I don't know if you've actually seen the video of him saying it, but that actually is worth watching because it's fantastic. It's not just what he says, it's how he says it. Yeah, he's very he's over it, and I don't blame him. I mean, it's been a wild ride. This season has been so ridiculous as far as everything from the pandemic we're going through to the baseball rules that are in effect to what people are saying about one of the most talented players on the Chicago Cubs. Now, granted, we've talked at length about this on our podcast, and I have said some things that I don't want to say I regret, but I might have said in haste. So, it's nice to see this side of him, to see him kind of fire back and to be like, you know what, I'm just going to do what I need to do. And for him to put it out there and, make sure that people know, I don't care. I don't care what you say. I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to be the same person. Obviously his teammates, his coach, everybody has his back, and they definitely are, wanting to see this side of him on the field and in front of the Zoom camera, because if you ask me, this is just firing up this team. This is just getting this team going. Somebody like Chris Bryant doing what he's doing, saying what he's saying, absolutely 100%. He's firing up this team, that he's setting the tone for the playoffs, and I love it.
You said the swear word is galvanizing the team. Let me ask you this, Andy. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the starting rotation in the bullpen outside of Jeremy Jeffries. All right, so after you and Cal and John Lester, looked steady, but then kind of got rocked. And what are your expectations with him in this long towards the end of his career, which it seems like? And also, do you think they'll bring him back next year? What do you think about the starting rotation and the bullpen? But wait, also, what did you say in haste and regret about Chris Bryant before we continue?
Well, it was a long conversation that kind of started with a tweet. And so I don't want to say too much out of context because you really need to hear the whole thing and know the whole thing behind it. But we were talking about, what Chris Bryant is actually Chris Bryant. Like, is it the one that is not producing offensively? He's looked fabulous defensively, even up into this point, into this series. He's made some really amazing plays that we've not seen him make in his career up to this point defensively. However, the lack of offense was it was a bit alarming, and he's had some ups and downs. So I was kind of questioning which Chris Bryant is the real Chris Bryant. And, you hate to do that because you know that you've seen some things from him. Obviously, he was Rookie of the Year, he's MVP. I mean, he's won so many awards. He's obviously proved himself at some point in his career. It's just it has not been consistent. So it's easy at this point before this past series to question it. Well, whatever he did, I mean, I joke about the 2 chains and the high socks, but whatever he did when he just made that decision that things are going to go a little bit different this series worked. And I'm good with that. And if we continue to see that Chris Bryant, yes, the playoffs are going to be extremely fun because I feel like some other bats kind of got going too. And, it's all about setting the tone. And I really feel like he did that in a big way. Even though he doesn't lead off, I still feel like he set the tone. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to throw myself under the bus too much.
I got you. I understand.
There was an at-length conversation that Sarah and I had on our podcast regarding it. And I'll just say I've never been a KB hater. I just simply stated what everybody was kind of thinking, which Chris Bryant is the real Chris Bryant. Is it the one that is having issues at the plate, looks a little lost, whatever? Is it the one that comes through in the clutch? So if this is the real Chris Bryant, I am all for it. I will take it and I will eat my words all the way to the playoffs. So as far as the starting rotation, I think this is a great question because there's a couple different ways that we can line up against a Marlins team that we're going to be facing. John Lester, I think, is still probably going to come in at your third starter. I think right now the decision is going to be between Kyle Hendricks and Yu Darvish. That's kind of my take on things, and just from what I'm reading and hearing. I still think he's going to give us some solid innings. And being that this is going to be a 3-game series, if we go 3 games, we're still going to have some guys that can go long innings, that can eat long innings, and that's solely based on the fact that Yu Darvish gives us the starts that he's been giving us, and Kyle Hendricks gives us a start that he's been giving us, and they go long enough innings to where our bullpen is halfway rested. I love our bullpen right now. September, they have been one of the best in the majors. Craig Kimbrell has really decided that, he's going to show up this season, which is a good thing because we needed him if we're going to make any kind of run in the playoffs this year. He has been lights out, which is nice. Jeremy Jeffress, you said not to mention him, but he's my dude. I have to mention him. He's like my people. He's been awesome. He's been absolutely clutch. I mean, we would not be in this situation if it weren't for him. He's coming into so many games in dirty innings where he's come in and helped us get through it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident right now in being that this first series is a 3-game series where our pitching will land us. And, the quality of starters that we have going and the quality of our bullpen and where they're at right now, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about pitching.
Guys, we're joined by Andy Cruz-Venasek. She is a co-host of Cup of Cubby Blue, and we're talking Cubs baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. So now you're venturing into the playoffs, and David Ross is venturing into uncharted waters. He's been in the playoffs many, many times as a catcher, 3-time World Series champion, but he's never been entering the playoffs as a manager where he has to make the calls. Give me your thoughts on how you think he's going to handle this situation. He's done a good job as a catcher. He's done a good job as an analyst. It's easy to sit there and analyze things. But now you're in that hot seat. Now you got that interrogation light on you, and every move you make is more magnified, in the playoffs. And as a first-year manager, your thoughts on him moving into the playoffs, as a rookie, basically.
Sure. Yeah. I think that he's kind of already given us a glimpse into what his approach is going to be with the playoffs. Just simply over the last week, we've seen him yank his, he self-proclaimed said, I had to pull my friend early. I mean, he pulled John Lester after 5 2/3 innings, not this past start, but the start before, because, innings he was not locating. He was not making the pitches that he needed to be making. Hitters were making solid contact. It was getting a little scary. These are games you have to win at that point. And so I think he already kind of hit the switch on playoff mode and how he's going to approach things. I love his use of the bench. I love his use of Billy Hamilton. Like, he's been amazing. Cameron Maybin has been such a great addition. I love his use of him and where he's put him in. I'm quite impressed with how he's handled things up until this point. And it'll be interesting to see if that same mentality, that same approach kind of carries over into a 3-game series, and then a 5-game series, and then a 7-game series. And I really think that, he's going to be tested. He's going to be tested. And, as a rookie coach, he's named off quite a few managers that he models his style after. And there's a couple that are quite different. So we'll see which direction he goes, or if he just kind of goes out there and makes a name for himself and does his own thing. But I've been quite impressed with how he's used everybody, the way that he's managed in-game situations. He's had to pull his friend, as he said, which everybody, questioned, was he going to be able to do stuff like that because of his relationships with these guys off the field. And he's showed us that's not an issue. He's there to win games, probably get a couple votes for manager of the year for National League, I would guess. But he's not playing around. His mental approach is there. It's there. It'll just be really nice to see it on that stage.
Andy, let me ask you this as someone that follows the Cubs. When you're looking at this year and moving forward, and I'm one with David Ross, and now knowing, and we know since basically the World Series that David Ross was going to be the manager, but we didn't know what type of manager he would be, and now he looks like that he'll be a very good manager. But does this feel like a swan song? And even if, as far as the core of this team and moving forward, and does it make you think, are they going to retool or rebuild? And what really was the purpose that they brought David Ross in? And just reflecting as a Sox fan, and it's not exactly the same. I can remember when Ozzie and Kenny was getting into it, I was ready for it to be done. And looking at like KB and what's going to happen with KB, of course, they're probably going to re-sign Hobby. But like, does it get to the point where you just want to get that done so you can try to see if we can get back to winning World Series or not? Like, where are you in your mindset as a Cubs fan with moving forward with this organization?
I mean, it's always in the back of your mind, because this season is the first time we've actually heard players voice their concern about this might be the last season that this core is together. Like Anthony Rizzo made the comment, this could be our last season together. This could be our last run together. So, it's definitely a concern, and it gives me that pit in my stomach that I don't love, but it's inevitable. I mean, it's the business side of this game that is really not fun. And, I'm an emotional person. I get emotionally attached to things. And when I say things, in this case, it's a team. And this group of guys together, I've grown to love. And it's hard for me to imagine this team without these guys together. But I also know, it's not a reality to keep these guys forever. There's just way too much talent. The price tag is going to be way too high. And as we know, the Ricketts don't have any money. So, I mean, we're going to be lucky if they get clean showers next year. We'll just say that. So I'll wait and see, I have my thoughts, which I'm not going to divulge right now, but I have my thoughts on who I would like to see them keep and who I feel like will be priority to keep. But we'll just see. I mean, obviously pitching is going to need to be addressed. But at the same time, you can't keep all your new toys when they're so darn expensive,
Right.
Guys, we're joined by Andy Cruz Venasek. She is the co-host of the Cup of Cubby Blue podcast. It's an SB Nation podcast that's dedicated solely to those fans of Clark and Addison. I don't even want to say their name because I'm so mad that they did to us yesterday.
Listen, I don't know if you can hear it, but my voice is going out. Our Bears yesterday just about killed these voice boxes right here.
Your vocal cords. I'll tell you what. I have no problem talking Bears with you either.
I almost texted you back last night, and I was like, "Wait, are we talking Cubs or Bears?"
And I would have said Bears.
I won't argue.
Yeah, it was. It was one hell of a game. We've been talking about it. We're going to talk about it some more. But let me ask you one last question before we let you go. So with Chris Bryant seemingly coming out of his slump, he only had 2 homers going into the weekend. He hits 2 homers this weekend alone. When he rises, can he bring other people along? Can Javi Baez feed off of his energy? Can Kyle Schwarber feed off of his energy? Because if a couple of those guys feed off his energy and they start playing to their averages and their potential, then all of a sudden you have a super, super, super dangerous team in those playoffs.
First of all, I have to say, I made this joke when he hit the grand slam that he doubled his RBI total for the season. And I'm not joking. He literally had 5 RBI before he hit that. So yes, it was not 100% true, but it was pretty close, which my point was it shouldn't be. So yes, this series, he doubled his RBI for the season, which is crazy to me because obviously that means he just was not performing up to expectations, what he can do. 100%, I think, watching him and how he was this weekend, it totally rubbed off. I mean, you could just see there was so much playfulness in him, and to see the dugout when he did anything, it was so refreshing. Like, they were up, they were screaming. Like Sunday when some of the guys weren't playing, everybody was still very much engaged in the game. When he hit his home run yesterday, I don't know how much of this you guys cared to watch, but I mean, he was sprinting around the bases, sprinted through home. Like, didn't you know how you kind of stop at home and give your dudes a high five and then kind of trot your way back to the dugout? He sprinted right through home and went straight to the dugout, giving everybody high fives. Like, he was just in such like a good, youthful, happy place, which you could tell that weight had been lifted. And for all of us Cubs fans too, it had been lifted, because you kind of can feel like when somebody like Javi or somebody like Wilson or Chris Bryant, when they hit the ball like that with such authority and in a good way where it's productive, it's like you can exhale, like finally you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It feels good, and hopefully it sticks. But 100%, I think he sets the tone for this team. I think any of those guys, when they get on any kind of tear, seeing the ball well, doing something well on the bases, making a huge play in the field, I think that carries over, and that's important, and it's going to be important for all of these playoff games.
Guys, she's Andy Cruz-Venasek. She's the co-host of Cup of Cubby Blue. Awesome stuff. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
I am on Twitter at Briz, BRYZ_blue, BLUE. I co-host podcast Cup of Cubby Blue. We're also on Twitter at Cuppa, CUPPA, Cubby, CUBBIE, Blue, BLUE. And we can be found on the website Bleed Cubby Blue.
Great stuff. Good luck moving forward. You guys start Wednesday.
What is that? Drink.
Ivan, going after your own people.
Ivan, why would you do that to me? I thought we were people.
Clearly no. Clearly not.
Apparently not.
I know, right? Thanks for that wake-up call.
That was funny. Hey, Andy, great stuff. We appreciate it. We will be in touch soon.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you. Good luck to you guys in the playoffs.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You weren't giving no love for the Cubs in the playoffs? You like that?
Good luck in the playoffs, Andy.
All right.
Good luck. Good luck, because I want the Red Town. Good luck in the playoffs. Dad, I didn't watch your back. Good luck in the playoffs, because I do want to.
That's cold, Shawn. That's cold. Kenny had to tell you to say that. That's cold.
Oh,
thank you. There you go. See, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get a knuckle sandwich. That's.
Man, I don't even know what to say.
It's been a fun morning. It's been a fun morning this morning.
It really, really has. Again, good luck to the Cubbies, because I want to see you. Well, we want to get that ass in the World Series. That's what we want to do. And we're not even going to watch. It's going to be in Texas. But anyway, who cares?
Right. I'm going. Listen, if both of them make it, I don't care if I have to stand outside of that park.
We'll go down there. Hey, them bars will be packed with
right. Full of Rona. Full of Rona. Right.
The hell with Rona. See, stop it. Stop it. See, this guy.
Right. Where's the bat flip? You got to add that one to it. Where's Contreras'?
No, we don't.
Yeah, you got Ivan. You got to throw it in. You got to throw it in there. Oh, you got to show it in the sky. Look at that. That was disrespectful. Cold-blooded. That was disrespectful.
It was. Hey, let's bring it's time for Ken to pass it with Tom, man. Let's bring in the guy who's going to finish the show with me, go to the final leg, the anchor leg. He is he's a sports editor over at the Chicago Crusader. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Coyden. It's JayCoyden. Guys, bring him on. He's a co-host of What's Up Cuz, one of the hottest shows right here on SportsZone Chicago. Guys, bring him on. Jason Palmer. Jason, what's up, Baba? How are you?
Good morning, fellas. How you doing?
What's going on?
Good. How you doing?
Feeling a little better, man. I feel like we've turned the corner with sports in this city. After yesterday's Bears victory, we finally have put an end to the Mitch Trubisky era. I so hope. But this is 2020. We could have Foles as a starting quarterback next week, and in the first quarter he get hurt, and now we back at Mitch. So I'm not taking nothing for granted in 2020. But I think we've turned a corner here. We got both baseball teams in the playoffs. We got an NBA Finals that is now set. And we got the NHL Stanley Cup going to Game 6 tonight. I'll be watching that. Dallas and Tampa Bay have been putting on a great series. So I'm kind of like hilarious because I've been in sports overload like the last 3 months because everything is going at once. And you got the French Open is getting ready to start this week. I'm gonna watch Serena and Naomi Osaka. So I don't know what to do in October with half of these sports here.
Naomi's not gonna be there though.
She's not gonna be there.
Yeah, she's not going to be. But listen, you brought up it's 2020, and in my head, I just saw the Bears playing next week, and Nick Foles kill it, and all of a sudden he just blows up, and it's just like, oh, it's just
he disintegrates.
Just like, and listen, the crazy, we wouldn't even be shocked right now. That's how 2020 has been. It'd be crazy, but it would be like, you know what? That's 2020.
I mean, or we'll get the Cubs Sox World Series, and then we'll have 40 people test positive for corona. It's just something waiting to happen.
The whole city of Arlington is quarantined, and they can't come back to Chicago.
You just know it's like too good to be true. It's almost like the Charlie Brown getting ready to kick the football.
Yep.
Lucy gonna pull that sucker.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. It's the World Series got canceled because of the corona. We're in the World Series. Both teams of breakout happens, and it gets canceled. We're like, no.
Oh, we prolonging that. We're gonna wait for that one. All right, we're gonna wait.
Damn it, we will wait.
We're gonna wait a couple weeks for that.
Oh man, hey Kenneth, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. We will see you on Friday. And
have a good one.
Will do. Jay, thanks. Get ready to take the reins. We got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, Jason's going to roll with me for the last hour, and we're going to talk to our guy Brad Squires from the On Tap Sportsnet, talk a little White Sox baseball and what he likes. If there's anything positive going into the playoffs, as the Sox have lost 8 of the last 10. That's a rough one. That hurts me to even say that. 8 of the last 10, because if they would have won one more freaking game set match, we're division champs. It's a whole nother ball game. But you know what? They didn't do it. We're going to talk to Brad Squires up next, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
5 at the line of scrimmage, a possible 6th. Montgomery to his right, slot to the left, 3 receivers, tight end left side as well. Here's the snap. Good rush. They throw as he's hit into the end zone. Touchdown, middle of the end zone. A beautiful throw ball to Anthony Miller, and the Bears have the lead.
Bears ready with the call. Anthony Miller on the catch from Nick Foles. 30-26, the victory over the Falcons. Chicago rallying back from a 16-point deficit to win it. Foles coming in to replace Mitchell Trubisky after an ineffective start. 16 of 29 passing for Foles, 188 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was picked off once. Trubisky, 13 of 22, 128 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at boomernaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330-95.9 The Zone.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. And joining me for the last hour co-piloting is Jason Palmer. He is the co-host of What's Up Cuz, one of the hottest new shows on SportsZone Chicago with his cousin, Lance C. Irvin. Who do you got on tonight, man?
So tonight we're making history. For the first time in the history of our show, we have a guest who's actually coming back for a second time. And it's going to be Howard Griffith, who was on last week. So we had some technical issues last week with Howard. We weren't able to get into everything we wanted to get into. So Howard agreed to come back. And it's actually good because now, as you know, the Pac-12 has announced they're coming back too.
Yes, they are.
Other conferences coming back online. We're going to talk about the Miami-Florida State game. I think Miami is actually going to be the surprise team this year. They got a squad down there in South Florida. So we're going to talk about that, and he's going to finish talking about a lot of stuff he was talking about last week. He really gave some really good information on college football coming back online. We're also going to have Katrina Adams, former head of the United States Women's Tennis Association. She's going to talk to us about the French Open. She's going to talk to us about the number of African-American ladies on the female tour and how big that is for that particular sport. And then we're going to wrap it up with Russell Dorsey, the Chicago Cubs beat writer. Of the Sun-Times. He's going to come on and talk with us. And we got another special guest who's going to join us for that portion. He's going to talk baseball as well. And it's in regards to a special announcement I'm going to be making here on the Shawn and Maya show at 11:30 a.m. So everybody needs to tune in for that. We got something real special coming up here.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Actually, I know what it is, but I can't wait for you to tell everybody else. Well, listen, let's bring on our next guest because we're all Sox fans here. Sorry, Ivan. Sorry, not sorry. We're going to the playoffs, and I want to get talking with my man. He is the host of the Sox on Tap podcast. He's from the On Tap Sports Net. You can find him on Twitter at BuzzOnTap. Guys, let's welcome back Brad Squires. Brad, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Good, man. Good. It might be a lot better if our White Sox were able to make that comeback. How great of a comeback would that have been to, after we were down 9 runs to win in conjunction with the Bears? That would have been the most idealistic Sunday ever. But we just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, no, it would have been a perfect Sunday, but of course, it's it didn't work out that way. Sox still are, riding into the playoffs. It was kind of crazy to see that last 7-8 day collapse. That was kind of hard to deal with, kind of hard to record post-game shows after all those games. But, I'm happy we're going in the playoffs. We ended up splitting the season series with the Cubs. We both won 3 games. So, whoever they decide to give the title to, I think the Crosstown Cup goes to whoever won it last year, which would have been the Cubs. So, but other than that, I'm just happy to be moving into the playoffs and, and going from here. And hopefully this team can, turn it around and get some momentum going.
Let's talk a bit about a guy who seemed to a couple guys who seem to be coming out of their slump, and it couldn't be at a more opportune time. Yoan Moncada hits a home run the other day, and on a pitch that was literally a ball. He pulled his hands in, got the head of the bat around, and wrapped it around the fair pole out in right field. And more importantly than Yoan, due to his psyche, is Luis Robert. Lou Bob was really, really good this past weekend. Talk to me about them going into the playoffs and how if they are coming out of their little slump, how important that is to the Sox, and how potent they can be.
I think it's no question that we need, especially Yoan Moncada, to be on his A game. He's arguably the best player on the team when healthy. Steve Stone mentioned on a broadcast that COVID just kind of, really messed him up. And, which is just horrible in general to see that. Any injury, any sickness that the player has to deal with, but he doesn't feel like him. But to see that his bat started to kind of heat up, it looked like his legs were getting underneath him again. Mm-hmm. And that looked good. I mean, it's very important for him to be one of the best players on the team entering the postseason. We haven't been there in 12 years. None of these players have been there. The young core, I mean, obviously your Dallas Keuchel and your Gio Gonzalez's have been there and whatnot, but the young core has not been there, and he's going to have to be a vital piece in this machine to get a first round win against the A's. And then as far as Luis Robert entering the Crosstown Classic, he was like 0 for 26. His batting average was like .086. I know a lot of people don't look at batting average. They don't care about that. Guess what? That's bad. I don't care who you are. That's bad. So, he's going to have to turn that around, but he had a good series, a decent series. So, I'm just hoping that those guys could stay strong and tear the cover off the ball. We know what they could do in the field. I know that there was a couple lapses there from Luis Robert, but he's a rookie. You're going to see that happen. But if he can bring on how he started this season and basically negate that last, what would you guys say, 3 weeks to a month, if he can negate that and bring on what he first brought on when he came up to the show, and then Yoan Moncada's, let's say 75% of what he was before, that lineup's scary as hell. It's still scary.
Yeah, Brad, I have a couple concerns with this team, and it starts with the person who's the captain of the ship, and Ricky Renteria. Shawn mentioned it right before we came on. One more game, we're division champs. This guy blew at least 3 or 4 games this year, easily. And let's be honest, James McCann should have been pinch hitting on that last at bat for Nomar Mazara. James McCann is hitting 400 against lefties, and you don't bat him yesterday. Ricky is going to be the downfall of this team. Give me some of your thoughts on Ricky's performance this year, because it was kind of scary when the White Sox had the best record in the American League. I thought this guy may actually win the Manager of the Year, then we'd never get rid of him.
I'm sorry, you got. As far as Ricky Renteria goes, I'm not gonna lie to you, Jace. I'm scared because if I say something stupid, I'm gonna have a bunch of people in my mentions, and I just don't really feel like dealing with that. But for you, I will deal with that. Ricky Renteria is not good. He's not, and a lot of people will sit there and fight you on, the manager doesn't really mean a lot. The managers don't win you games, but to your point, they could lose you games. And that's what he did. So if I can have a manager that just coasts and bring good juju into the clubhouse and can make good decisions, especially regarding the bullpen too. It's not just pinch hitting that I've questioned Ricky Renteria on. It's been bullpen usage. So there's 2 separate things there that are separating us from winning winnable ball games or just getting shellacked. And that's what ended up happening last night when it was Mazara. And I'm just like, okay, well, this would be the greatest moment in the world if you turn it around right now. So, I'm going to go on FanDuel and put a couple bucks down, see if he gets a base hit. No, that didn't happen. Obviously I'm not a MLB manager by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe that managers can win and lose games. I did a poll on Twitter. The poll was basically, do managers matter? And the overwhelming majority did say yes, but there was some people that did say no, and they threw out some legitimate arguments that can totally be respected, and you have a good dialogue on it. But as far as I'm concerned, Ricky I said this on this show. I've said this on Sox on Tap because I'm with Shawn quite often, and I've always questioned Ricky Renteria. Doesn't mean I don't think he's a good guy. It doesn't mean I don't think he knows baseball. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that in high pressure situations, I don't think 9 times out of 10 he makes the right decision, and he scares me going into the postseason. Just in case, what if Giolito doesn't have a good game, man? What if Keuchel doesn't have a good game? Because those are really the 2 pitchers you're riding with. And then in your instance, you come up in a pinch hit situation, you need to win the game. You're going to leave Edwin in? You're going to leave Nomar Mazara in? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to make the right call to try to make our odds even better to win that ball game? That's what needs to happen. So I'm hoping, because I can't be negative, because every time I feel like I'm negative, it makes the team lose because the baseball gods can feel my horrible energy. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, I have to be positive. I'm hoping he makes the right decisions going into the postseason. Guys,
we're joined by Brad Squires from the On Tap Sports Net, talking a little White Sox baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. This is it's uncharted territory for majority of these people on the Sox. But talk to me about about this rotation. I shouldn't say the rotation, the bullpen. Who do you like in the bullpen? I'm a big fan of Rodon, although I don't think he should have come in instead of Bummer the other day. That was another thing that I was frustrated about. Jason actually texted me, and I couldn't believe it. But talk to me about this bullpen, because I think we do have a really good bullpen. And then with the addition of some of the starting pitchers falling back in the bullpen, and Colomé as a closer, he's pretty much been lights out last year and this year. If we need to go to the bullpen, how confident are you that we can that our bullpen can save the day?
God, it depends on what situation in the game it is. Like if it's early, if it's at the end and we're and we're in a good position, and I throw a Marshall, a Bummer, a Crochet, and a Colomé out there, I feel good. Like 6th, 7th, 8th, and I feel good. Now again, if Dylan Cease is our Game 3 starter, or Dane Dunning, who struggled recently. And I'm not going to take anything away from Dane Dunning. He started off hot. He's never pitched above AA. Mm-hmm. He's impressed me, guys. And I'm sure you would probably say the same. Yeah, he had a couple rough starts. His last 2 starts weren't great. We're not going to sit there and throw him a parade or anything, but he did all right. But if that doesn't go well, if Giolito and Keuchel aren't able to hold their own and at least get us to the end part of our bullpen where we know the effective pitchers are, I'm not very confident. Gio Gonzalez, Carlos Rodon, I like those guys, and Rodon is what really upsets me. And going back to your point about bringing him up earlier, the fact that he was put in like he was the other day, I would have fired him right there. I would have fired Rick Renteria right there. I didn't understand
That's what I said, Shawn. That's what Jason said. You shouldn't even been on the plane.
Because you not only, just started getting completely killed at that point in the game, but you just took out a guy who's coming back from injury, a guy that we know has nasty stuff. You just ripped away his confidence. You ripped it away. I don't care if anybody says, oh, well, he's a professional, he can get over it. No, dude. Do you ever have a bad day at work? Because sometimes I have a bad day at work, and when I come in the next day, I'm doubting myself. So it's just, that's what he did. I'm nervous about that part of the bullpen, but like I said, once we get towards the latter parts of the bullpen, I'm not nervous. I'll throw Marshall, Bummer, Crochet. That dude's hitting 102. He's throwing like the most 100-mile-per-hour pitches. I'm not worried about that at all. But the beginning part, if something happens with one of our starters, I'm terrified of that.
Yeah, but I think I'm concerned. I think all managers in all sports have their players who they use as security blankets. I think he uses Jimmy Cordero as his bullpen blanket security.
Only Lord knows why.
And I'm it's just one of the many concerns I have about Ricky. But I do like the bullpen as well. But I want to talk about the starting pitcher. Like, who's number 3 and number 4 on this team in the playoffs? Because we can't win any series with just 2 pitchers. We can win the first one because it's a 2 out of 3 series. But after that, we are in serious trouble. I don't know who the heck is going to stop their pitch.
Well, if you ask White Sox Twitter, it was Ronaldo Lopez until he got his ass kicked yesterday. If you ask White Sox Twitter, it's Ronaldo. You ask some of them too. Don't get me wrong. You'll probably. I think that the general consensus amongst fans will probably be Dane Dunning. I'm sure that's who they're probably looking at for the third pitcher in a series here. And the reason I say that is because of those games that he had where he looked very good. And he was beating those teams that Dylan Cease could not get past. And it's just that simple. That's what he was doing. He was pitching good games there. And do I think that Dane Dunning has as good a stuff as Dylan Cease? No, I don't think that at all. I think Dylan Cease has some of the nastiest pitches in all of the MLB. It's just the control is an issue. It's the control that is the issue. Until he gets that under control, it's a moot point because he's going to walk. You're going to see him. He's going to walk guys. He's going to let up that stupid ass home run. He's going to let up that hit that brings in runs, and that's what's going to continue to happen. So if I'm going into this Oakland A's series, and 3 games, what is it? 5 games, got to win 3, right?
No, best of 3.
It's 2 out of 3 for this first.
Best of 3.
Oh, best of 3. Okay, yeah. So so we got to win 2. So then that was my fault. So yeah, it's Giolito, Keuchel, Dunning. That's who I'm throwing out there. If it, that's what you have to do.
Interesting. And I actually have an opposite approach on that because this is 2020 and you got to do all sorts of crazy stuff. Actually, if it's to a game 3, I'm starting Crochet, knowing he could probably only go 3 innings. But at least I know them 3 innings, I got a heck of a chance.
So you're talking, essentially you're talking like a Crochet, maybe a Rodon after, or maybe even starting with that. It could be a bullpen kind of thing. Yeah, I could see that too. But Ricky ain't gonna do that.
I know.
He ain't gonna do that.
I'm gonna call Ricky and be like, "Hey, Ricky, check out our show." At the 2 hour and 15 minute mark, and just check it out. And in case you're wondering. But that's actually a really good idea, Jason. Garrett Crochet, because there's not a lot of film on him. There's not, and when that helps. That usually helps the first time, maybe the first time and a half, or maybe even 2 rounds through the order. But after that, it's different. But at that point, boom! Now now we're bringing another guy. Now we're bringing Rodon, who you really don't know what he's got. But there's no film on him after post surgery. Okay, so I actually don't mind that. Remember, Milwaukee did something like that. They just throw bullpen arms at you. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
It was last year.
And they're real successful with it. So and then things follow trends. So it's very very doable. But again, Brad, I don't know if Ricky has the cojones to do something like that.
We had an article over at On Tap about that. I can't remember. I want to say Josh Barlog wrote it, and he had mentioned something like that. And we have a group chat with all the Sox guys, and we were always throwing out ideas and stuff. And I didn't mean to, crap on his idea, but I'm like, he's not going to do that. So I can't even get myself psyched for that because I know it's not going to happen. It's going to be Giolito, Keuchel, and then, oh man, pick your poison, man. I'm hoping Dunning can be good, but if it's Ronaldo or Cease, I had enough grabbers yesterday during the Sox and the Bears game. I don't know if I can handle it anymore. I'm 29 years old. I'm about to die. It's about to be it. I'm not going to see 30 because of these teams, man. They're killing me.
So let's talk about a guy who really should be in there, and a guy that has 2 years ago was batting 186, and this guy he's a stud defensively, and that's Adam Engel. He's really worked. He was batting 300. He's fluttering, 295 to 305, somewhere in there. But from where he was 2 years ago, we know he can cover everything from the Indiana to Wisconsin state border. Does this guy need to be playing in the playoffs instead of Mazara? And if he is, what would he bring to this team?
Every day, Sean. And I hate the fact that we traded. I mean, Steele Walker was whatever. He had the greatest name in minor league baseball, but I'm not upset that the Sox traded him for Nomar Mazara by any means. But Nomar has been bad. And Nomar had a 60 game, or I know he missed some time at the beginning of the season, but he had a pretty much a full season, full COVID season to figure it out. And he never really figured it out. I mean, he was doing decent for a little stretch there. He's gotten some ribbies. He was hitting over the last 7 days. He was hitting 300. Okay, so is he riding into hot hand going into the playoffs? Do you want to take that risk? Because I want to put Adam Engel in because of, like you said, defense, number one. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people talk about his base running. Guy can steal bases. He's a great base runner. And he's hitting around consistently, not just in the last 7 days. In his at-bats, he's hitting around 300.
Yep.
He's flashed some power with the barrel too. I like that move personally because I don't trust Nomar Mazara. I don't trust him in right field, and we've seen him make a couple blunders out there that didn't even make sense defensively. I'd rather, again, You need to take a step back and not who you traded for, not who you're paying or anything like that. You need to take a step back and look who is going to give me the best opportunity to win a ball game. And in my belief right now, that's Adam Engel over Nomar Mazara. That's my belief. I could be completely wrong. Maybe he rides this last 7-day streak into the playoffs and he starts tearing the cover off the ball and he hits a couple dingers. Would I put money down on that? I'm a degenerate, by the way. I would not. I definitely would not.
Hey, I mean, you're saying the same thing I've been saying, most of this year about Adam Engel. I've been, riding this guy's train for a while. I mean, he got an opposite field homer yesterday. He's showing that power. And I want to talk to you about the outfield because the thing we know about Oakland is that it's a huge stadium. There's a lot of ground to cover out there.
Especially in foul ground, too.
Right. And the best outfield to me, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this is what I would do going into the playoffs. Okay. My starting outfielder actually is Robert, Engel, and Dyson. And I'm putting Eloy
at the DH.
Because Edwin hadn't done it all year. We know Eloy is hurt, and he's probably going to hurt himself again doing something. So just put him at the DH spot, and let's go from there. Now, this is, again, we know Ricky's not going to do this because Ricky does not think outside the box. But what is your thoughts on the White Sox playing in Oakland, a place historically we've struggled with, and trying to control that large stadium?
Yeah. So again, going to your point about the outfield there, if Eloy is ready after his foot injury to go on Tuesday, because they've been kind of weird about that. He made like a comment. I don't know if you guys saw that in the press. He kind of made a comment where he didn't know if he was going to be ready. But then Ricky and even Rick on he was on 670. He was doing a show with those guys in the baseball show they have, and he was pretty optimistic he'd be back. I have no idea. I have no idea if he's going to be back or not, but I do like your thought process. This is where you really miss a guy like Lurie Garcia. This is where you really miss a guy like Lurie Garcia right now, which is just so damn unfortunate what happened with him in the beginning of the season. I feel like he could have, helped plug in those holes that we've struggled at. But, the outfield, it's a deep park. There's a lot to cover. Luis Robert's going to have to be – well, if you have Engel out there, it'll be all right on that right-hand side. So that will give – Luis Robert the opportunity to kind of help shade over on left field. So that's, if they do play Eloy there, that's what I'm hoping for. But like you said, historically, the Sox have been pretty horrible in Oakland. If you look back at last year's series, how bad they were, they couldn't even put the bat on the ball. It was bad. So I'm hoping that's a big turnaround this year. Just a couple of same faces, but different team, different kind of vibe. Hoping they're able to pull it off. But yeah, I do like your thought process on Dyson. I just don't know offensively what he can really bring. And just like, I'm sure you don't feel the same way. It's just having him and Madrigal at the bottom of the lineup. They do bring speed, which is nice. But if Dyson's just had so many inconsistent bats throughout the year, is he the guy that you really want to have in on the offensive end? And that's something that kind of just, I guess, scares me a little bit.
Yeah, it scares me too. But
especially a mini series. A 3-game set, that you really don't have the opportunity to. You got to have all the most potent lineup you can,
right?
Because So one of the things that I really like, and give me your thoughts on it, and this is something that I wanted from the beginning of the season. You mentioned Engel because I've seen him do it. Is bunt is in play a little more small ball because in a 3-game set you're going to need to be able to steal runs and manufacture runs. Talk to me about you think the White Sox would do that because Ricky has shown to do that, not very often, believe me, but he has shown to do it. And if it would be, you think it would be successful again, just in this first 3-game series?
Small ball works here and there for sure. Is our team good enough to execute the small ball, utilize the speed to get to the base? You have your Tim Anderson. Yoan Moncada looks like he's getting his legs under him. After that, I mean, Pito has beat out a couple infield singles this year, which is pretty,
crazy.
Pretty crazy. But then as you start getting further down, Eloy, I don't know. Madrigal can't even lay down a bunt. Have you guys seen him try to bunt? Please tell me.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
contact hitter who can't bunt. Right.
I don't get it because he's a slap hitter and he can't. I don't know.
Make it 2 strikes.
But I'm also very weary of answering this question too because White Sox Twitter hates bunting. So, but no, if they, whatever the game plan is to come out and win, I'm hoping in game one, Giolito has a good enough game to keep that Oakland Athletic offense at bay. And it gives our offense opportunities to swing that bat and try to do what they do and put runs on the board. If small ball is the way to do it, then ride with it. Absolutely. But I think they're going to go in there and they're going to try to be playing the same game that kept them as competitive as it did in, the 20 to 45 game mark of just, either hitting dingers, getting on base and driving guys in. That's what's going to happen. I don't know if Ricky's going to change it up to small ball and turn the playoffs. I mean, if he did and it works, he could stay another year, sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the whole thing, but I just mean in key points. I just want, because I want to utilize that speed. This
right.
That's one thing that I don't understand it. I understand that people they dig the long ball and a home run, but every game's not. You don't score 7-8 runs every game. There's tons of still of 1-0, 2-3. Or 2-1, 3-2 ball games that you need to manufacture runs. And the White Sox have that youth right now, okay?
Right.
Youth is wasted on the young. And when they're 28, 29, 30, they're not going to have the same spring in those legs that they have now when they're 23, 24, 25. And to not use that, especially in this short mini series, this 3-game set, I think would be first of all, par for the course, but would be an aberration to do that because you know what? It puts just too much pressure on the defense. And a bad throw leads to a guy on third instead of just a guy on second. So now you're putting a lot of pressure on the pitcher because you got a guy on third. So it just really stresses the defense. In addition to the home run hitters that are going to be at bat when this guy's on third. So there's just a lot of good things, and I hope that Ricky can do that and decides to do that because if he gets out of the first round, I think they're going to keep him another year. If he doesn't, I think the axe is going to fall. Now, here's a question for you, and I know we talked about it before, but I just want to just go through it again. Who would you want to manage this team if they don't? And obviously, we don't know because other people might leave and opt out of contracts or whatever. But who would you like to see manage this team, this young team that needs a good manager and one who can relate to them, one who's tactical. But also, is kind of battle tested. So I don't want a young manager with his young team.
No, you want to bring in somebody who's got, some playoff history behind him, has won some games and stuff like that. Man, you're going to make fun of me, dude.
I got thought too.
Yeah, you're going to make fun of me, man. I think Ozzie lived and learned. And I know people will get mad at that. Well, don't live in the past, but I'm looking at guys out there. You got Cora still sitting out there, and I mean, he's rumored for Boston and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I don't care what he did in the past. People live and learn, man. People got to start getting off that stuff. When you make mistakes in the past, you can become better from those mistakes. I like Cora. I like Ozzie. And then I'm drawing a blank on who is the bench coach for the Houston Astros. I'm drawing a blank.
AJ Hinch?
Yeah, Hinch. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. I was drawing a blank on his name, but those three guys I would be happy with personally. Either three of them, I don't care. Ricky, I just feels like, man, it feels like he's a gatekeeper. He's like Doug Collins, right? That's what it feels like to me. And he's there for his players. He shows his fire, he gets ejected, and then he leaves Don Cooper in charge, and then the world burns down. But it's just out of those three that I just mentioned, I think I could ride and die with one of those three. I mean,
dude, you're not going to get you're not going to be made fun of me because we said Ozzie Ozzie is the perfect guy, I think, because he's done, and if the Yankees can bring Billy Martin back 5 times, you can bring Ozzie back twice. Okay? Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, Ozzie showed that first of all, he doesn't have any history with these guys. You know what I mean? So there's no. Secondly, he's shown that he can take young guys and mold them into a championship team. Now, once you get veteran, once those young guys become veterans, then his shtick might wear off, and that's where the issue came. That and him and Kenny and all other stuff. But I think for this point, I think Ozzie would be the best. His fire, and Ozzie has no problem telling you. Like I would say, early in the season when Lou Bob was going crazy, was going nutso. I mean, Ozzie would be perfect because he'd be like, "Hey, you're not rookie of the year yet. You need to keep working." I know you hit 2 homers yesterday, but keep working. get your ass in the batting cage. You got work to do for today, and that's the kind of guy who would keep these guys on the straight and narrow. So no, you're not going to get made fun of by me, because me and Jason has said Ozzy is a perfect dude for this. And dude, first of all, they should already erect a statue for Ozzy. Well, how soon will that statue be up if he comes back and wins a World Series again?
I'll fund it tomorrow.
I hear you, man. I hear you. And I mean, I'm the guy that people made fun of on this show. I agree with you, all three of those candidates. And then for me, the one wild card is the third base coach for the Atlanta Braves, Ron Washington.
Okay.
Who, I think Ron Washington, despite his, issues that he's had with substance abuse, I think he's a hell of a manager, and he took those Texas Ranger teams into the playoffs, every single time. At this point, I just think just about anybody's an upgrade from Ricky.
Well, I think that's the thing that we go back to when I was just saying, people have to get over past mistakes. Sometimes someone says something stupid. Sometimes someone does something stupid. It doesn't justify your character forever, man. You can live and learn, and you can get better. And, I feel like that way for Ozzy, because I've been, obviously, we record the post games right after the Sox games, but I DVR, Frank and Ozzy and Chuck, because I like those guys. I like to hear what they have to say. And, I by no means am an expert. I cover the team, but I learn things from them. And Ozzy this year has just, I feel like his mind is sharp, and I feel like there's no ill will, hard feeling type thing. I don't think he's trying to get anybody's job. I just think he's saying what he feels. And a lot of the things that he says just resonate with me, because I'm thinking, okay, this dude's going to make it happen. That's just kind of how I feel. So,
guys, he's Brad Squires from the On Tap Sportsnet. Man, do me a favor, buddy. First of all, it's great having you as always, but let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me at Buzz on Tap on Twitter. You can find all of our work at On Tap Sportsnet, and go to ontapsportsnet.com. That's where you can find all of our stuff.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
Billy the Kid, running the Bulls. How do you like it? Billy
man. Oh, man. See, I could just sit here and talk to you all day. I'm kicking my feet up in my office now here. All right. So that hire blew me away. I'm going to be honest with you. That one blew me away, guys. I didn't see that coming. And reason being is because there was some comments floated around there from, NBA lead writers, like I believe Alex Kennedy, a couple other guys were saying that he does not want to be a part of a rebuilding team. He wants to go to somebody that's competitive. So where I feel right away is that AK and Mark Eversley are doing their jobs, and they sold Chicago to this guy. And I just think that is so cool. He's got a young roster with some talent on it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they need to improve it. I love the hire, man. I think it's going to be good for the Bulls moving forward. He's a proven coach. He's got respect from high-profile players around the league, whether it be Joakim Noah or Bradley Beal, who publicly came out and said good things about him when he was hired by the Bulls. So not saying those guys are going to come back. I know Joakim might come back on a vet minimum. I've seen that kind of floating around here and there, but it feels good to have a guy like AK who had a team in Denver just go to the Western Conference Finals. And then it feels good to have a guy like Mark Eversley, who was an assistant GM over in Philly, and that was a competitive ball club. That was a competitive team over there. And then you have Billy Donovan, who's coached a successful program in college, and then 5 straight years in the NBA with Oklahoma City, he brought his team to the postseason. That's a new normal here, and that's something to really look forward to, in my opinion.
Awesome. I'll tell you what, I'm excited about it. I think it's a great hire. I think he's shown to be a guy who knows how to put guys together and play. The sum is bigger than the parts. And you saw that at Florida, because at Florida, he had really good players, but there were no players that would be the cornerstone of a university. Joakim was a great guy. Tito, Horford, Corey Brewer, those guys were great. They were not guys you build a franchise or a program around. And he got them to play together as a unit, and their play together, was again bigger than the sum of their parts. And it was, if he can do that here, and then we bring in one superstar, I think we can be a legitimate, a perennial playoff contender here in the East. So great hire. I love it. And I just wanted to get your take on it because I know you're a huge Bulls fan just like us. So.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I really glad you brought that up. I thought you were about to talk Bears with me, and I told you I think I had a heart attack yesterday. I still don't feel right, but yeah, no, I'm very excited for Billy Donovan, and we recorded a Bulls on Tap as soon as he was hired, as soon as the news came out. It was actually one of our most listened to episodes, which is really cool. But we've got to break down his coaching career a little bit at Florida. We talked about his time in Oklahoma City and what we hope he brings to the culture for the Chicago Bulls here.
Man, that's awesome. Hey, great stuff, buddy. We'll be in touch soon, all right?
All right, man. You guys take care. Jason, nice talking with you, brother.
You too, buddy.
Thanks.
Take care.
All right. Hey, guys, that was Brad Squires from the On Tap Sports Net talking a little White Sox baseball. And we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to ride it home. It's a home stretch. But Jason has a big announcement coming up, and I'm excited to have it unleashed right here. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. More sports conversation on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
5 at the line of scrimmage, a possible 6th.
Montgomery to his right, slot to the left, 3 receivers, tight end left side as well. Here's the snap. Good rush. They throw as he's hit into the end zone. Touchdown, middle of the end zone. A beautiful throw ball to Anthony Miller, and the Bears have the lead.
Bears ready with the call. Anthony Miller on the catch from Nick Foles. 30-26, the victory over the Falcons. Chicago rallying back from a 16-point deficit to win it. Foles coming in to replace Mitchell Trubisky after an ineffective start. 16 of 29 passing for Foles, 188 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was picked off once. Trubisky, 13 of 22, 128 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. We're back for the final stretch. This is the home stretch here on today's show. And you know what? Bears Victory Monday. It is a beautiful day here in the Chi. I don't care if it's overcast and it's cold. Bears Victory Monday. You know what? It's a great day. Every time the Bears win, you know what? This town it's a football town. And, you know, every time our Bears win, this town is rocking and rolling. And when they lose, this town is angry. So it's been good 3 weeks in a row. The quarterback change yesterday, I think, really did a lot of fans some good. They were so excited about this change. And then he delivers. You know, he delivers. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure.
Before your announcement, was it just me, or were you more calm and relaxed once Nick Foles had the helm? I know he threw the interception, touchdown, interception, subtime, whatever you want to call it. Let's go review it. But whatever on the first drive. But after that, how did you feel? Because I know I felt calm, cool, relaxed. Mm-hmm. And this is before he actually won the game. But I felt calm with him running the show. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought, when Nick Foles came into the game, Shawn, I felt relief. I felt relief for everyone, including for Mitch, because the look on his face on the sidelines, he knew it was over. He knew it was over as soon as Nick went in the game. We had discussed this. We said if they ever pull Mitch during the game and Nick Foles comes in, let alone comes in and does, pretty decent, Mitch knows his time in Chicago is over. Well, Nick Foles came in and basically threw 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
So Mitch knows it's over. I felt a sense of relief. I felt a sense of joy. I felt a sense of hope and optimism that I have not had with the Bears since, a couple of years ago. It was the right move. It shouldn't have taken them this long to do it, and I thought they asked Nagy some great questions in the post-game press conference. Like, you said that Mitch won the job in camp. Well, what did you see in camp that Mitch beat out Nick Foles? I think that's a good question. And, Shawn, I think, unfortunately, politics is in everything. And I think fans, because we're looking at it through a fan's lens, we don't understand how deep politics runs in professional sports. And Mitch Trubisky was a political hire, let's just say. And, Ryan Pace and, probably some other people wanted Mitch to succeed and gave him every opportunity to do so because they invested so much. And sometimes you just got to admit that you made a mistake and move on from it. And Mitch was a mistake. Let's move on from it with Nick Foles and go ahead and win these damn games.
It's unfortunate that Ryan Pace has had quite a few mistakes. His first 3 first-round draft picks were mistakes, and you see what has happened. He's had to. This is why we're under the cap, going to be up against the cap. Is he had to go and spend money to cover his ass on those mistakes. So for Kevin White, okay, you had to go get Allen Robinson, okay, and now you're going to have to pay him. Okay, I'm glad you got him, but you're in there. There's a guy that you missed on your first pick. Then you go and get Leonard Floyd. Okay, Leonard Floyd is another project, and so he screws up, and you're expecting him to take a big step last year and this year, and he doesn't even make it this year. Excuse me. And so now you got to go sign Robert Quinn. Okay, big thing. And then you draft Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky, you gave him every opportunity to excel and to succeed. He didn't do it. Then he had to go sign Nick Foles. So this is all money that you have that you should have gotten. These are all players and positions that should have been covered in the draft that weren't, and now you had to go overspend because free agency is nothing but overspending. You overspent in free agency on those 3 positions, and now we're up against the cap. So it's unfortunate that Ryan Pace made those decisions, but he's got to feel the heat as well for those bad decisions. But currently, I feel so much better this morning moving forward as a Bear fan than I did going into the game yesterday as a Bear fan. And we talked a little bit about this. Watch out for this defense now. See, I think Chuck Pagano can let it fly now because I got a quarterback who can score. Right. I got a quarterback who, if we get burned and go down 7 or 10, our quarterback ain't no thing but a chicken wing on a string, and I'll lead you down a couple times and we'll do it. Right. And I think that's going to unshackle his play calling. I think we're going to see a lot more pressure, a lot more stunts, a lot more blitzes, a lot more fun things to see from that defense on the defensive side of the ball, and that's what I can't wait for.
Yeah, me too. I agree with you. I think the defense, yesterday I thought was the first time this season they really put a lot of pressure on the quarterback with the front 4 without having a blitz. But now I think you can blitz, and that's just going to add even an extra element to it. I just think the morale of the team as a whole, and I think that's something else people forget about. The players know. They know who the quote.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I can just see the whole team spirits were going up. The only thing I have a complaint about is my guy Jay Jaworski said, how he felt bad for Mitch, blah, 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 because he's a nice guy. Look, man, these people are millionaires, man. There are people out here losing jobs because of Corona. I don't give a damn about some millionaire who getting benched because he ain't doing his job. You know how much I would love to be paid a couple million to be terrible as a journalist? Please, man. I try not to mess up at all to make sure I get the money I do get. So, that's just my only beat. People like, oh, poor man, he'd be all right. He'd be all right.
You got $29 million. Why 29 million reasons why I'm not.
There you go.
And I also get, and I stuck with him, and I'm not gonna back off my statement from last week where I said I think he could be in the middle of the above average quarterback pool. Okay, but he's got to be put in the right situation, and he wasn't. All right, some of it's on him. A lot of it's on him. Okay, and the other part is Nagy, and those two never were able to see eye to eye. And Nagy wouldn't call the plays for him, and he couldn't adjust or get to the point where he didn't need to be moved out and put in the pocket. You know what I mean, and become a better pocket passer. So, I think had they done that, it could have been a different story, but they didn't. And so now it's time. Now it's got time to move on. The end of we have the Nick Foles era, and I am fired up about it. Look, we got Armando Lara Jr. said defense changed when Foles went in. Yeah, it did. It did. You talk about and I played ball with Armando, and we know when you got a good quarterback in there, it changes things, man. Quarterback. That's why that's the most important position in all of professional sports is the quarterback position, because everybody rallies around you. Everyone rallies around the quarterback, and if you got a guy that you trust, that you'll run through a brick wall for because you know what he can do for you, the sky's the limit. And you just the momentum, the feel, the energy, and you can feel the energy just watching the players, and they're like, this is our dude. And you saw a lot of guys consoling Mitch, like, hey, don't worry about it, keep your head up, blah, blah. Because we don't dislike Mitch. It wasn't his fault he got picked as the number 2 overall. But there are expectations whether you decide to get picked there or not. Whether you know what I mean, there's still some expectations, and he didn't live up to those, and it's unfortunate. So my question is, what does he do if Foles doesn't finish the rest of the season? Because Foles hasn't started more than 9 regular season games in a season.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully we'll never have to find out.
Hopefully, that's a big if though, and I hope his confidence isn't shot. Because I just don't know with his mental makeup if it's tough enough. I don't know, but we're gonna find out. Hopefully we don't find out, but I think it's a good chance. It's the NFL, not for long. You could be a starting quarterback not for long, because he can go down, and he's literally one snap away from getting back in there and having that job again. So is he going to stay fresh? Is he going to stay okay? Is he going to say, okay, let me learn from this guy? Hell, you got a lot to learn from him in the second half that he went in the middle of the third quarter. And just hopefully he continues to watch him, just like Patrick Mahomes was able to watch a competent quarterback in front of him. And maybe Mitch can salvage his career, maybe not here, but somewhere else, because I think he's a good dude. And I just wish him the best. So, well, let's talk about you. You have an announcement to make, since
we do.
Both of our teams are going to the playoffs. What do you want to talk about?
So we got both of our teams going to the playoffs, and because here at SportsZone Chicago, we have the ability to add content when we need to. Discuss this with Maya over the weekend, and found a willing partner with me. So I am pleased to announce that starting tomorrow, we will have on this network a post-game playoff show for both the White Sox and Cubs games, hosted by myself, along with the coach, Terrence Jackson. Terrence Jackson is the former baseball head coach at Chicago State University. He's also been the head coach at Selma College down in Selma, Alabama. He's a longtime baseball guy. He was the sports information director at Chicago State as well. He knows sports. He knows, oh my God, he's coached so many great athletes in baseball in the Chicagoland area. So I'm glad to have Terrence as my co-host in this endeavor. And we're going to analyze every White Sox and Cubs playoff game. And we're going to bring in some special guests as well, like, Bob Nightingale, Mark Gonzalez, our guy Squires, who was just on with us a few minutes ago. So we're going to break down a lot of these playoff games, and hopefully both teams can go deep into the playoffs. But we're going to provide some content to all of our Chicago Sports Zone Chicago people out there, because we know baseball is going to really pick up here over the next week. And these games, man, they're going to be coming fast and furious. And I think it's Wednesday. The Cubs play at 3 and the Sox play at 2 or something like that. So, we're going to have multiple TVs and computer screens up trying to watch all these games. And it's really going to be fun, man. I'm really looking forward to this. I hope we can pull off a red line series. Not sure if it can happen, but when you've got both the White Sox and the Cubs in the playoffs at the same time, which is extremely rare, you got to do a little something special. So we're gonna step it up, provide a little bit more content, a little bit more fun for our viewers, and we'll be there for you to sound off on when things don't go well as well. So just very happy to have this opportunity here at Sports Zone Chicago for us to produce this show. And we will announce the name of the show tonight on What's Up, Cubs.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, Wednesday, 1:00 p.m., the Cubs, 2:00 p.m., the White Sox. So the Cubs will be on Channel 7 on Wednesday, and the Sox will be on ESPN. So the Sox are on ESPN tomorrow at 2, Wednesday at 2, and then TBA on Thursday if necessary. The Cubs, 1:00 on Wednesday, and they have they'll TBA on Thursday, and if necessary, Friday. So, man, that's awesome news. Yeah, we know what we definitely. This is, Armando Lara. He put it best, man. Holy cow, what an exciting time, baseball time here in Chicago. He said it doesn't happen very often, and we got 2 good teams. We got 2 good teams, and there's a lot that I'm hoping for. I'd like for the White Sox to get out of this first round. It's not going to be easy, but this playoff experience is invaluable. There's no price tag you can put on this for these youngsters. I think them collapsing at the end is going to be that's huge experience for them next year, and realizing how you have to keep your foot on the pedal, even in a short season, because next year most likely will be 162. And I think Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada, Lou Bob, Eloy, all those guys are going to benefit greatly from it, and they're going to mature from it. I think the Cubs have a chance to have not one last stand, but I think they have a chance to. They still have the majority of their core players that won the World Series, and I think they can make a good run. I mean, the Dodgers obviously have a really strong team, but that's why they play the games, and you get hot at the right time. In hockey, if you got a hot goalie, things can change. Doesn't matter who you're facing. It's literally a brick wall. And when you're hitting the ball very, very well going into the playoffs, that ball looks like a beach ball. And if the Cubs can start, that's why I asked earlier, Andy Cruz-Vanasek, she covers the Cubs for SB Nation. She has a podcast for them. With Chris Bryant seemingly coming out of his slump, hitting 2 homers he hit 2 homers this series, and he had 2 homers the rest of the season. He had 5 RBIs the rest of the season. He gets 4 on one swing. So he literally doubled his RBIs in 3 games as opposed to a season. Can high tide, raise all ships? Is Javi going to start playing better? Is Schwarber going to start playing better? Is Rizzo? Are these guys going to start playing better? And I asked her, I said, because if they do, that's a hell of a lineup that pitchers got to face.
Right. I think the Cubs, I think they've benefited from playing in a terrible division all year. The Brewers made the playoffs, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
And they're under 500, and they made the playoffs. So, that's an indication of how bad the NL Central was this year. So I think the Cubs benefited from that because they haven't played up to their potential, man. But if they do, then look for them to challenge the Dodgers for the National League title. Now, we're using that it's a small word, but it's a big word. If, if there's a lot of ifs here, with both teams really. But we could really see some special stuff happening here in the next few weeks. I'm excited to see what the Cubs are going to do. I'm excited to watch their games and their fan base and see how they react to this playoff run. And, I think, you said it earlier, we got some excitement now with the Bears. Now that we know Nick Foles going forward is probably going to be leading our team. We got Billy Donovan, who's been hired as the Bulls head coach. There's hope and optimism in Chicago. Now we got to see what the Blackhawks are going to do in this offseason with their goaltending situation. and see if they can get a defenseman on that blue line. But, my dream has always been, and I swear to God, if I was ever elected mayor of Chicago, Shawn, one of the things I would stand up and say in a press conference is, I want to be the mayor when all the Chicago sports teams win a championship within the same calendar year. And to cap it off with a White Sox Cubs World Series. I don't think any city has ever done it before. I know New England came close a couple of years ago. I think they had the Celtics, the Bruins, and the Patriots, but the Red Sox didn't get it. Was something like that. But, I would love to see all of our teams get a championship within one calendar year. I want to make history. I think we should start setting higher goals in society for just in general. Kind of like what Squires would say, we can't cancel everyone because they make a mistake. Because a lot of times the biggest mistakes in your life end up being the biggest influence and experience to make you a better person. So I don't like the cancel culture that much. I think you got to give people opportunity to come back. And, I just think we got a good sports town here. And, we got reason for hope and optimism with some of these recent moves that have been made. And it's very encouraging to see. So I'm looking forward to the ride. I'm looking forward to these baseball playoffs here. That's where I'm going to be focusing most of my attention, kind of going forward here in the next couple of weeks.
Man, well, that's awesome, and I'm so fired up about this this postseason post-game show. It's gonna be great, and looking forward to listening to your guy. It's gonna be just fun. Talking about two teams, not just one, two teams. So you and Terrence Jackson on our playoff postseason analysis is going to be awesome. Well, listen, we got 3 hours is come and gone, man. Unbelievable. I want to thank my guest, Lauren Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast, calling in, talking Bears with us. Andy Cruz-Vanasek she's the co-host of the Cup of Cubby Blue podcast from SB Nation, and Brad Squires from On Tap Sportsnet. Those guys for calling in. Thank you, Jason, for sitting in with me 11 to 12. I want to thank Kenneth Davis for sitting from 10 to 11. I want to thank Joe Phillips who started the show with me 9 to 10. I want to send a big shout out to our technical producer, Elliot Baez. A big shout out to our social media guy, Clarence Council. And then my man right there, you see him on the screen. He is our Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, the man behind the curtain that makes it all run, Ivan Vargas. All you guys, thank you. You made it a phenomenal show. And I look forward to doing this again in about 45 hours. So we got to run. So until then, for Jason Palmer and for my co-host in absentia, Maya Akai, and my guy, Ivan Vargas.
We'll see you guys. It's like I said, it's a good weekend for Chicago. I mean, I'm sorry for you guys, but it's gonna be good. I like having both teams in the playoffs. I'm excited. I'm really excited to watch both games. I feel like it's gonna have a March Madness type of feel.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All righty. Well, I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. We're gonna take a 45-hour break and see you on Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time. Until then, download the app. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. And we out.